citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question authority. This code has been compromised.
Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Wednesday, April 17th, 2019. It's been a very busy week with the new news headlines, starting with the burning of Notre Dame in Paris, France this Monday on April 15th, an infamous date in history. The date Lincoln died, the date the Titanic fully submerged, 2013, the date of the Boston Marathon bombing, and now the latest, the burning of a religious holy site. And there were actually two religious holy sites that burned that day. It wasn't just Notre Dame in Paris. It was also the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, the third holiest Muslim site in the world. And if you've been following the work that we've been doing, keeping an eye on August 11th, 2019, something we've been discussing since September in 2018, there's something very interesting about the burning of these two holy sites this past Monday. Again, August 11th, 2019, the reason we're watching that date is because it's Tisha B'Av, and that's to remember the destruction of the two Jewish temples. It's the day of Jewish mourning. World War I began on that date. They say all sorts of tragedies in Jewish history, connecting to the Holocaust and so many things connected to that date. Also, in addition to Tisha B'Av, it's also the time of the Hajj, the Muslim pilgrimage to Mecca. It's also the Muslim Day of Sacrifice this year. And there's this thing about the number 118 and death and tragedy. And what's interesting about April 15th is it's exactly 118 days before August 11th. Also, we just saw the shooting of two mosques, again, two, like how Tisha B'Av, to remember the destruction of the two temples, like how two holy sites just burned. The shootings of the two mosques in Christ Church, they were in the zip code 8011. Both of the mosques, that was part of the address, 8011, which again reminds of the date, August 11th, the 8th month, the 11th day. So we're really keeping our eyes peeled. Again, the date, the locations that I'm concerned about August 11th are Jerusalem, the site of the Dome of the Rock, where some people want to bring about the third temple, even though there's no real historical precedent that it should be built there. It's more revisionist history. And the other site that we're keeping an eye on is San Francisco, which might seem strange, but the reason we're doing that is because the Jewish prophecy is that the Jewish Messiah will arrive through the Golden Gate at the time of the third temple. And what I learned this April 15th is that that's the day in history that San Francisco was incorporated, April 15th. So it's like, that's strange too. That is very strange. If you missed the work I put out this week on the two fires, you should definitely check that out. I won't do it all again here on the radio program. I know a lot of you follow me pretty regularly, and I've already put in several hours of work and research on that. Today, April 17th, it's the 107th day of the year. The big news today, well, there's a few stories now, but it started off this morning with the way most headlines had it was nearly 20 school districts closed because of threat from infatuated Columbine teenager from Florida. And it's like, really? Nearly 20 school districts closed, nearly to the 20-year anniversary of the Columbine shooting on the 20th day of April. And again, for people who don't understand my research and who think it's silly, it's looking at headlines like this, which I did for years, and going, I mean, what is it? What's with the number games? I mean, what am I? Am I supposed to be a blind idiot here reading these headlines? And it's always been this way. It's always been this way. I think, one of the natural blessings I have is this. I was always pretty good with numbers, and I like numbers. So maybe it is that most people don't like numbers. Something else I also noticed in my lifetime that keeps people from acknowledging these things. But when you just look, it's just right there. I mean, here we are almost to the 20-year anniversary, and you have the headline all morning that nearly 20 school districts are closed. The way they word it, nearly 20. And then at the end of the day, they come out and say 19, right? It's 2019, chaos equals 19, order out of chaos, the Masonic agenda. But anyway, they phrase it, nearly 20, nearly to the 20-year anniversary on the 20th. And the thing about doing it today, April 17th, it's the 107th day of the year. In Gematria, shooting equals 107. If you just use the alphabetic order, S is 19, H is 8, O is 15, so on. Shooting 107. So, nearly on the anniversary of this shooting, you have all these schools locked on lockdown for a threat. The number we talk about most commonly with shooting is 44. Shooting equals 44 when you use the alphabetic order and rules of numerology. Wednesday is the one day of the week that equals 44. The name of the shooter, Sol Pice, the way it's spelled, also equals 44. Go figure. And if you do follow this work, we use 4 base ciphers, the alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order, and the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. If you write out her name in 3 of those 4 ciphers, it's a perfect overlap with manhunt. And that's what they were doing today. A manhunt for this supposed teenage threat that caused all these schools to be closed throughout much of Colorado. And, the other thing is they said this young girl was from Florida. Now, what's interesting about that is in the headlines, if you pay attention, there's been a lot of activism out of 2 states, predominantly for gun control, from teenagers, from high school age students. And that has been Florida, the Stoneman Douglas students, and also Columbine in recent months. We just got the story of a young girl named Kylie from Columbine, who started a campaign asking teenagers to put a little sticker on their ID card that says if they're killed in a mass shooting, they want their body to be shown on live television. If you missed that story, it's from March 30th. The young girl was supposedly inspired by Emmett Till's body being shown and how that inspired the civil rights movement. And if you've seen my work on that, Emmett Till and the girl's name have the exact same gematria, go figure. But there's been that story with Columbine in recent months. On March 13th, the anniversary of the Dunblane massacre, which got gun rights taken away in the UK, you had the story of the Brazil high school shooting where they said there were 2 shooters who were inspired by Columbine. And again, on the anniversary of Dunblane. And then 2 days later, you got the mass shooting in Christchurch, New Zealand. And then you had the students from Stoneman Douglas go there. So anyway, Florida and Colorado, Colorado, Columbine, Florida, Stoneman Douglas, Pulse Nightclub, Yoga Club, and really a whole bunch of other little shootings here and there that have been in the news in the last decade or so. Also, just take a look around. If you missed this morning's story, notice how every news headline emphasized the word infatuated. I do believe that's the word. I'm going off memory here. I should actually pull it up myself so I'm not putting out misinformation. But yeah, infatuated. That was the word. Just do a web search for the school closures today in the Colorado area, the Denver area, and you'll just see all of the news outlets emphasizing this word infatuated. And again, anytime the media puts parentheses around a word, it's because there's gematria behind the word that's relevant. In the same cipher, infatuated equals 38, So does Colorado. Colorado's the 38th state as well. So does Florida. They're all 38. And of course, death, murder, killing, they're all 38 as well. The story was this young girl, supposedly 18, despite her picture making her look like she's older than I am right now. Supposedly, she was found dead naked in the woods with a gunshot wound to her head. And isn't that a familiar story in these mass shootings? The shooter found dead by suicide. I'm not even convinced that this is a real person. I mean, the pictures, they don't add up. It doesn't look like an 18-year-old, not by any stretch. Oldest looking 18-year-old I've ever seen. If I looked at that picture and you said, how old's that person? I'd say, I don't know, somewhere between 35 and 40. And again, like we just covered, CNN a month ago had the story about all the people that look so real in the images, but none of them are. They're all AI creations. We're in the age of incredible technology, incredible deception. So we had that story. We also had the shooting of a former Peruvian president, another ritual by the numbers. I won't bore you with the details. I put out videos on all of it this morning. You had a tragic bus crash. It was reported at least 28 people died. Again, today's the 107th day of the year, the day of this bus crash. 107 is the 28th prime number. You know, you got a weapons scare in North Korea. Instead of boring you with all the usual news by the numbers, let's go out to the callers. They're usually more entertaining than I am. I'm going to be taking your calls for the rest of the night. If you do want to phone in, I suggest you call in now before the line gets too long, and you be patient. And it's funny doing your broadcast with your neighbor next door. He's doing a little yard work. I was like, what is that noise? I don't know if that's coming through. If it is, apologies. But that said, let's go out to the callers. First up, East Bay, and I think his phone's going to work this week.
Hey, Zach, is it working?
Loud and clear.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on.
Excellent. Yeah, I was just, I met my friends. What we were just talking about is a Stratocaster that he kind of put together with an Ibanez neck, blah, blah, blah. But I'm down at the hill with the little part of the trail that kind of goes to this house. Great place to be, and it seems the reception is better. I really don't have too much to say other than things I want to say, so no need to kind of keep boring on that. Except that I had a minute this morning, and I caught most of that interview with some guys that you did. Mainly, I remember something about a special use for soap, and you know, if you remember what I mean. And anyway, but that was a very good interview. I caught most of it before I had to go, and I thought it was great. It seemed to be breaking through to the mainstream. And I'm going to check them out. Like they said the show right before, that they'd done before you was about Tartar. That's Tartaria. That's the thing about the flamenco.
Right.
All those people working off of mud flood and this, that, and they're all working off of flamenco's work. I can't recommend it enough. Like I say, it's statistical, and if anybody can check to see if it's the real thing, it's you, and that it's part of the puzzle. Keep up the great work, dude. You and the Gematrinator, all those people. You're making all the difference in the world. I really think we need to do something that like a real academic level kind of statistical analyses of these Gematria. Like the ways of figuring out the numbers. We got to do some real research on that. Anyway, hey, let me go and get to the other people. I love listening to all the great stuff people say. Fantastic, and keep up the great work. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate your call. You have a great night.
Yeah, one step at a time, man.
All right, sounds good. All right, looks like we got New York up next.
Nice to talk to you again, Zach.
Hey, man. Hope you're doing better.
Well, with the help of the goodwill from you and the show and others, I'm feeling more optimistic.
Very cool.
Today.
Awesome.
I also got did you send me an email about the two people who wanted to offer me some help? I was wondering, are these like established followers of yours? Because I don't want to just blindly, accept something from, total stranger, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Those two guys who want to help you are people who are committed to this work, and they heard you through the radio show, and they wanted to do something. One guy won a bunch of money off Tiger Woods, and he wanted to help you get your car fixed or a new car, whatever has to be done. And the other guy, you might know his name, Hickok. You probably recognize him from the chat. He won some money on Tiger too, and he wanted to help you also. So.
Okay, I know Hickok, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. Also, you made an offer over the air. I know it's just like a thought that popped in your head. I also listened at the time. I only listened to the first 2 hours, and I listened in the library the next day. But I'm open to that offer if it's something you want to pursue later. I'm open to it.
Well, very cool. Yeah, we're gonna have to discuss that. So that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I've been laying off this one, the Nipsey Hussle thing, but I got pulled into the vortex.
Okay.
But also on the tinfoil hat interview, that was awesome. Just the reaction you got out of him, like you were able to hook him. And that's the thing about Gematria. We try to teach it to people. If you can hit them with stuff that just like hooks them, like blows them away. But the reaction you got out of him was amazing. That was a great show.
Glad you enjoyed
it.
All right. Cool.
In recent weeks, I've been discussing the central theme of primary importance to humanity, the sacred or divine feminine principle, a metaphor for the universal.
Sorry about that.
A metaphor for the universal force and law of love, empathy, and care. That principle has been symbolized by goddesses throughout history, also by the heart. Christianity's Holy Spirit is an expression of that principle, not coincidentally represented by a dove, which is the same animal image used by the Babylon's divine feminine Semiramis. The United States of Goddess. How many Americans know that the United States of America has its own goddess, Columbia, after which its capital is named, District of Columbia? It is derived from the French word for dove, colombe. Notre Dame is French for Our Lady, a reference to Isis, the ancient Commission/Egyptian expression of the divine feminine universal force. The image of the Virgin Mary and baby Jesus is also derived from ancient Kemet/Egypt's depiction of Isis and baby Horus. No coincidence, the United States capital, District of Columbia, sits between Virginia and Maryland. Virgin Mary.
Right.
The burning of Notre Dame Cathedral was a ritual destruction of the divine feminine and a clear indication of the domination of the evil Illuminati element within Freemasonry. Since the structure of Notre Dame Cathedral is a Freemasonic monument. The goddess Columbia, whose statue sits atop the United States Capitol dome, has also long ago been desecrated. An aerial view of the Capitol building, as can be seen via Google Earth or a web image search, shows the Capitol encircled and contained in the belly of an owl, formed by the roads around the building. Columbine High School, named after the goddess Columbia, was attacked, like Notre Dame Cathedral, during sacrifice season, which spans from vernal equinox to May 1st. Paris, named after the goddess, for Isis in French is Pas Isis, shortened to Pas Is, for Isis, is no stranger to destruction of the divine feminine rituals. Princess Diana, named after Roman moon goddess Diana, and whose July 1st birthday made her a Cancer zodiac sign, ruled by the moon, and who had a fragrance perfume with her image on the bottle and box called Isis, was picked from birth. to be a ritual destruction of the divine feminine in the city named after the goddess. The blowing up of Space Shuttle Columbia with its flight and white color represented a dove is another example. Paris, France is a good segue into the Nipsey Hussle theater and ritual. Nipsey Hussle, according to the plot, was murdered by Eric Holder on March 31st. Paris's other world-famous monument is the Eiffel Tower. In Gematria, Eiffel Tower and Eric Holder have near-perfect synchronicity, matching in 3 out of 4 base ciphers. Eiffel Tower 61, Eric Holder 61. Eiffel Tower 173, Eric Holder 173. Eiffel Tower 56, Eric Holder 56. The gematria points to an association that on the surface doesn't seem to correlate. What does Eiffel Tower have to do with Eric Holder? The opening date of the Eiffel Tower is March 31st, the same date that Eric Holder shoots Nipsey Hussle. What other anniversary is on March 31st? The assumption to office of Benjamin Netanyahu in 2009, making March 31st, 2019, the 10th anniversary of Netanyahu assuming office. Remember the Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's world-famous tweet regarding the Israeli lobby and the U.S. government. Oh, it's all about the Benjamins, baby. Also think about Big Ben, the London Monument.
Right.
Benjamin Netanyahu is the chairman of the Likud party. In Gematria, Likud party comes to 61, as do Eric Holder and Eiffel Tower, all three connected to March 31st, 331. The reflection of 331 is 133. In Gematria, Likud party comes to 133. Nipsey Hussle had Masonic checkered flags tattooed on his neck. The term checkered flag has gematria of 61 and 65, matching Eric Holder and Eiffel Tower, which have gematria of 61 and the reflection 56. Checkered flag in English extended comes to 187, the California Police Code for homicide. The Eiffel Tower opened on March 31st in 1889, making March 31st, 2019, the 130th anniversary. That's 130. The phrase 39th London Marathon comes to 130. The upcoming London Marathon is the 39th edition and is quoted all over Nipsey Hussle's story. Also summing to 130 is the term Brexit vote. A terror incident could be used to affect the currently ongoing battle to honor the Brexit vote. Before the Brexit vote in 2016, British Labour MP Joanne Cox was reportedly shot, stabbed, and killed, supposedly by a pro-Brexit extremist. A similar psyop could be planned for the London Marathon to sway public support against Brexit. A number stamped all over, not only the Nipsey Hussle ritual, but over the region his father's side of the family originates from, Eritrea, in East Africa, is 114 and 411. In Francis Bacon, Nipsey, with a capital N, sums to 114. His middle name, Davidson, is 114, also in Francis Bacon. Eritrea is in a region known as the Horn of Africa. Horn of Africa sums to 114. There was a military coup in the region, in Sudan this year, on the 11th of April, 114. In Gematria, the phrase Sudan coup comes to 114. The phrase Boston Marathon bombing comes to 114. April 15th, when the Boston Marathon bombing happened, also known as the Ides of April. The phrase Ides of April equals 114. That Boston Marathon was won by Ethiopian Lelisa Desisa, whose birthday is January 14th, 114. His full name, Lelisa Desisa Benti, comes to 114. The phrase marathon canceled comes to 411 in Jewish. Who knows if that's a possibility? Nipsey Hussle's memorial service was held at the Los Angeles Staples Center on the 11th of April, 114. If you spell out 11-4, ELEVENFOUR, it sums to 1,111, 1111.
Let's keep it right there. Hey, sit tight because we're going to commercial. We'll be right back, everybody. All right. So if you've never watched this weekly radio show, and for about a month and a half now, I've been doing a live stream on YouTube too. That's the new thing. A lot of people said, "Congratulations on your new radio show." It's like, I've been doing the radio show for a few years now. We're live streaming on YouTube. But during the commercial break, I'll interact with the chat. So, oh, somebody made that for me. No, that's not my license plate. Somebody made that for me and sent me that in the mail. So, very cool though. I should have a license plate like that. So no, that's not a real license plate, but somebody made that and sent that to me. Yeah, we figured San Francisco would fall to 8 and 11 today. Absolutely. So sounds like they're on their way. Good evening, Robert. Good evening, everybody. What's the significance of 356? You know, I don't have the answer to that question, but that is a number that I come across often, actually decoding, and it makes me scratch my head. There probably is a significance to it. And that's why I always say there's always more. You know, we know quite a bit about this research, but I still think we're just scratching the surface, truly. So there's a whole lot more to be understood. Aleister Crowley, who's written about this subject, if you ever look at his work on the subject, he talks about big numbers, you know, these massive numbers and their meaning. His work's really hard to follow, but it is a reminder that there is significance to the bigger numbers. So Zenith of the Alpha says Allison Mack will be sentenced on 9/11. Well, I'm going to have to look up who Allison Mack is, because right now that's escaping me. Thanks, Dave. Let's see. Yeah, the caller on right now, he's great. He goes thorough. He goes deep. He leaves no stone unturned. And my name talking about Nipsey Hussle and the Eiffel Tower. What I was thinking about is how the Eiffel Tower is a radio tower, you know, and he's a musician. So radio, music, radio equals 47, France 47. Nipsey Hussle's death had a lot to do with 47, as we talked about. Of course, that number is always hanging around these rituals. But that was the only thing I would have chimed in with what he was saying about Nipsey Hussle and the Eiffel Tower. I just made me think of music and radio. Salih Halesi, I always mispronounce his last name. Salih Halesi, the man that they thought was Jesus and reincarnated. I think there's some parallel there. Somebody sent me some information about Nipsey Hussle and that as well. So if you go back and look at that. Somebody also pointed out that Nipsey Hussle died on the anniversary of Jesse Owens' death, the track star. And, you know, Nipsey Hussle died in front of his store, The Marathon, and his record Victory Lap went to #1. So that's interesting. Jesse Owens, the track star, dead on that same day. All right, I'll be quiet. We're coming back from the commercial break here. All All right, we're back, Truth Seeker. Sorry for the awkward silence. I think I was slow to get back to the mic. We have our great caller from New York. He's given us one of his deep, thorough decodes, connecting the dots that nobody else would, and he got interrupted by the commercial. So let's go back out to him, and then we'll be to the rest of your calls who are waiting so patiently. New York, you're back on.
Thanks.
Welcome.
I'm saying that I'm getting some feedback.
How's that? Are you okay?
Yeah, I think it's better. Yeah,
Okay.
it's better now.
Okay.
Nipsey Hussle's memorial. I'll tell you how 114 is stamped all over the Nipsey Hussle situation and the area he's from. His father's has a family from Eritrea, the Horn of Africa, East Africa. There's a cool incident on 114. Nipsey Hussle's memorial service was held at the Los Angeles Staples Center on the 11th of April, 114. If you spell out 11-4, ELEVENFOUR, it sums to 1,111, 1111 in the Jewish cipher. The address of the Staples Center is 1111 Figueroa Street. His reported killer, Eric Holder, is named after the first Black U.S. Attorney General. The phrase, first Black U.S. Attorney General, comes to 114. If you spell out 114, it sums to, in Jewish ordinal, 121, like the date 121, January 21st, Attorney General Eric Holder's birthday, January 21st. If you spell out 11-4, it sums to 121 in the septenary cipher. Eric Holder is the 82nd U.S. Attorney General. The phrase spelled out 82nd U.S. Attorney General in septenary sums to 121, like his birthday, January 21st. The phrase checkered flag neck tattoo sums to 121. If you spell out Attorney General Eric Holder's birthday, January 21st, it sums to 109, the 29th prime, significant because Eric Holder, the supposed assassin, was 29 years old. By the way, assassin sums to 411. The phrase 82nd Attorney General in septenary sums to 109, the 29th prime. 1,111 sums to 109 in septenary, the 29th prime. The phrase 21st of January sums to 290, the numerological equivalent of 29. Eric Holder is the 29th United States Deputy U.S. Attorney General. And lastly, the themes of marathons and London signify the Nipsey Hussle grand ritual, as well as the Eric Holder theme. U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder's birthday can be written as 211. The winning time of the inaugural London Marathon was 2 hours and 11 minutes, 211. So yeah, we live in a matrix, I guess.
Seemingly, yeah, that's crazy. Excellent work as always. Mind-blowing. I think you forgot to mention how the Boston Marathon bombing was perfectly synced up with the 114th World Series last year. From the bombing to the start of the World Series was 2018 days. The 114th World Series won by Boston in 2018. But yeah, man.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that on your video. Yeah.
Awesome work.
Thanks.
All right, man. Well, yeah, give me a call when you got some time, or send me another email, and we'll talk more. So, hope you're doing well again.
All right, I sure will.
All right.
Well, have a great rest of the show.
All right, you stay strong out there. Take care, man.
Thanks.
All right, see you. All right, so we're gonna go out to Texas. Then we got Philadelphia, then Bellevue, Washington, then Brentwood, New York, then Nantucket, then Cleveland, then Richmond. Pinehurst, you're up.
What's happening, dude?
Hey, man.
don't have much to say tonight. Just saying hi.
Okay.
I'm just gonna listen in. Okay.
All right. Appreciate you listening. You have a good night. Thank you.
All right. Be good.
All right. Philadelphia, your turn.
Hey, Zach, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. Okay. I found some number coding, and in the old song from the '80s, "We Built This City."
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, 3 minutes 22 seconds into the song flips to a radio clip that sounds like a morning DJ giving a quick news briefing. And the clip mentions the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Okay. 3 minutes and 3 minutes 22 seconds is the 202nd second of the song.
Huh.
And San Francisco equals 202.
Right.
And August 11th is a date with 22 numerology this year.
Right.
And the other crazy thing about it is when the radio clip starts, there's exactly 1 minute 34 seconds left in the song.
Huh. Tisha B'Av.
Just like, yeah. And the radio clip ends at the 3:37 mark, and that leaves 1 minute 19 seconds left in the song.
Wow. Amazing. I see that song released August 1st, 85. So what is that? 34 years anniversary this August. Huh. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check that out. Brilliant observation. How'd you catch that one? Was it just on the radio or what?
Well, it was, I listened to things on YouTube, and that was one of the songs that came up in the playlist, and it came on, and I just noticed it.
Huh. Great observation. I had to look up who the band is. Starship. So I will look more into that. Brilliant as always. Anything else for us this week?
No, that's it.
All right, man. Well, that was a gem. Thank you again. Always great to hear from you.
You're welcome. Good night.
All right, yeah. You have a good night too. All right, Bellevue, Washington, your turn.
Yeah, great job on that interview this week, Zach. He nailed it, man. Just crushed it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man, I was really proud of you, and I really feel like, yeah, you awake some people that are already think they're awake. You just really woke them up. Everybody's got to see that interview, and I hope they have you back on soon.
Well, yeah, it would be nice to go back on. So, yeah, for all the people who are here from his audience, I realize a lot of new people came over. I think they must be censoring his channel based on how many people came to my channel, because there was a big response. And so I got to assume he's getting more traffic than it shows. But thanks for coming over and supporting for all the new people. And back to you, friend.
Yeah, man. Well, I know. Yeah, so you see they released the NFL schedule today.
I did see that.
And that's 5 days and 41 weeks until Super Bowl 54. That's 541, the 100th prime number.
How nice is that? Nice.
100th.
Nice.
So perfect. If I wouldn't have known that if I had learned it from you and everybody in the community.
Well, I didn't look at that. So you caught something I didn't catch. I just saw that right before I logged on the air, but right away something was triggered in my brain today about the schedule coming out on the 107th day of the year. Does that make you think of anything coming out on the 107th day of the year? Make me think of one thing.
Let me think for a sec. Nothing right offhand, no.
Well, it's the 28th prime number. Only one of the conferences can win the 28th Super Bowl this year. So it's the NFC.
Well, I see. Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. And I have a feeling the Seahawks are going to be in the Super Bowl this time because I like using the English extended and reverse, like English extended. In Seattle, the word Seattle comes to 541 in English extended.
Oh, wow.
100th prime number.
Nice. Seattle's also 19. It is 2019. Russell Wilson's 54, highest paid man. Super Bowl 54 coming up. Might have to look at it.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure it out ever since last season. Kind of just looking at it from here and there, trying to figure it out before we start talking about it, so I can get a glimpse. Try to learn the code better on my own. That's what other people should be doing as well.
Now, are you a Seattle Seahawks fan?
You know, when I was about 20 years old, I had season tickets back when they were in the Kingdom. But you know, I'm not really a fan of anything anymore. I mean, it's a complete joke. But
Sure.
if it was real competition, I'd love it probably. But I guess what's attractive for everyone is the narrative,
Right.
that the NFL puts on every year.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I
Absolutely.
noticed, you know, Russell Wilson started his career at NC State, and NC State and Seattle have a perfect overlap in all 4 base ciphers.
Nice. Nice. He also played at Wisconsin.
Rivers also went to.
He played at Wisconsin. It's got that.
And he graduated.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Wisconsin 7 to 44.
Like Seattle, right?
But yeah, but I see that Phillip Rivers also went to NC State. You know, they had a pretty good season last year. He's never been to a Super Bowl. I feel like it's either going to be the Chargers or the Chiefs. Mainly the Chiefs because a couple reasons. One of their ex-players just died on the 100th day of the year.
Who was that?
That was on the 10th.
Who died?
Let me look. Name's Walter White.
Walter White. I got to look that up. Okay, I'll check that out after the show. Walter White. That's like Breaking Bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, in the reverse extended, his full name, Walter Lee White, comes to 2,716. That's the 400th prime number. And the square root of 400 is 20, like 2020. So I thought that was interesting.
Man, I see that guy was 67 years old, man. 67. Blood sacrifice, 67, the 19th prime. Just never ends. So.
Yeah, you know, and the Chiefs were right there. They had the home field advantage throughout the playoffs last year and didn't make it. They got the young quarterback. So, you know, it's something to look at. Get into it later in the summer probably, but just a few observations I've been looking at. But I also wanted to point out for all the people that didn't hear, you know, I'm watching this Golden Tate football player. His name rhymes with Golden Gate and Golden State. And since we're always talking about the Golden Gate, a ritual coming up on August 11th, that's what we suspect. You know, this guy went to Notre Dame where the church just burned down. And he was drafted by the San Francisco Giants, although he never played baseball.
Right.
So I don't know. Might want to keep an eye on him and see what happens going forward with him. So, and you know, when he was traded last year from the Lions to the Eagles from Philadelphia, and there's the connection between San Francisco. Wearing number 15 to number 19.
Interesting. Okay.
So here we are in 2019. So that is interesting, I thought. And I think that's all I got right now to contribute. But
well, great work, man.
Awesome week for Gematria.
Great observations.
All right, man.
All right. You have a good one. Take care, man. All right. New York City. What's going on, New York?
Brother Zach, how you doing out there, fellow truth seeker?
Doing great, man. Good to hear from you again.
Another day in paradise.
That's right.
All right, real quick. I got Big D gave me a news story I wanted to share with you folks. He started off with the Notre Dame fire. He says, check this out. This 226 number, Johnny, that's been following me around. This comes from Channel 10 News, ABC, San Diego, KGTV. The company that owns owns Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, and Givenchy, along with the family of CEO Bernard Arnault, pledged $226 million to go with $113 million pledged by the family that controlled Gucci and Alexander Queen. Unbelievable. The 226 number and the 113.
Right.
You know, the bullshit, the dishonesty number, you know, the mainstream, and the 226, which is basically a God number. So real quick, where do I start with this? Hey, I just want to thank all those people that stepped up to help out that fine man out there and who had that problem with the house fire. You know, it's great to see that people step up to the plate. You know, that's really the right thing to do. So thank you all those people that participated in that. He's a good man and he's a necessary man for this community. He's a brilliant Dakota. Enjoy listening to him. Real quick, what else do I got here? I sent you a little tip. You know, when I go to a restaurant and I eat good, I tip good, you know. So I sent you a 135 for Tiger. Great call on the Tiger, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You know, I put in a couple of things for a couple of friends of mine, and it's, you know, I had quite a few dollars worth of tickets. I want to mention what I had because, you know, we know the FBI listens to all this crap, but hello, FBI. You know where I am. The funny thing happens is, what happens here? It's such a blessing to be able to help people, you know, and you enable me to help my sister and what have you. It's just awesome feeling, but it's awesome to be right. And I tell people I wasn't right. It was Zach that was right. It's not me. You know, this man's got it. He knows what's going on. You know, so I was at the cigar lounge today. And of course I had dropped like $1,900 in somebody's lap that gave me $100 to put something on for him. And that rose a couple of eyebrows. And then I told him what I made. And, you know, maybe now they're taking Johnny a little more seriously with this stuff that I've been, you know, saying for a while now.
Right.
But I said, hey, so I brought up the Notre Dame fire. I said, hey, any of you guys see the Notre Dame fire recently? And they're like, yeah, they started talking about it. And I'm like, well, that's another BS story. Said, well, what do you mean? I said, hey, you know the guy that helped, you know, me win this money and these other people the money? He's got let me listen to the breakdown. You guys got 14 minutes of your time? And I played the video and they listened to it. I'm like, look, my friends, this is it. One of the guys who actually played at Division I football was an All-American. He says, when it came to the Muslim part, you said it in that video, it's going to be a bad year for the Muslims and the world. And when he heard the Muslims, he said, yeah, I hope it is a bad year for the Muslims. I said, well, you didn't listen thoroughly to what he said. He said a bad year for the Muslims and the world. And unfortunately, I told this man, you know, look, people only hear what they want to hear, you know, and this is going to be bad for all of us. Okay. Well, you know, he's like, well, you know, they should have, you know, they should build their temple. I'm like, no, wrong. I'm like, look, just like the European settlers came here, stole the Indians' lands, called them terrorists and savages, and stuck them on reservations and gave them alcohol and tobacco. That was wrong. They didn't share the land. That place is a place where there's three Abrahamic faiths that enjoy and should share that land. That was what was agreed upon, I think, in 47 when it was first partitioned. Okay? And it was Judaism, Christianity, and Islamic. And I says, this is the problem. They want to divide us between our belief system or our non-belief systems. I was like, look, when I was in a restaurant, I happened to go grabbing some lunch on Sunday, and Tiger went up too. And I told the ladies that was sitting eating lunch, I was waiting for my take-out salads to come out. I had a nice beef salad with some apricot seeds and pistachio nuts and all this other stuff in it. But I told, hey, if Tiger wins, I'm going to win a nice chunk of change. And I showed him the amount of what I had holding in tickets. And I'm like, you know, You know why I know Tiger's going to win? Because I know the code. Would you like to know the code? And I gave it to him. Oh, yeah, my husband would like to know this stuff. I said, but you know what, ladies? It's not about winning money to me. Really, it's about bringing peace to this broken world. You know, I said, in the Bible, it says, blessed is the peacemaker, for they will inherit the kingdom of God. Not blessed those that go kill Muslims because the terrorists has deemed them enemies of the state. I says, as much as you love your grandchildren and your children, like I love my children and my grandchildren, I hope to see you all out in the streets advocating for peace when they pull the next or sequel to 9/11. Because it's coming, my friends. We know it here. You got the date pegged. And as I was talking to my buddy from Arizona, he said, Johnny, I'm more sure that August 11th date than I was Tiger hitting the slam, hitting the Masters. But with that said, the PGA, check this out, and I don't know if you know, my friend, the PGA Championship, I was talking to my friend from Zona, and he told me when the next championship, the PGA, that was always the last tournament. I remember watching golf as a kid with my dad. It was the Masters first, the US Open, the British, and then the PGA. They switched it this year for the first time to be played in May instead of the end of August. And I told my friend from Zona, I know why they changed it, because there's going to be some big things that are going to happen in August. So they want to get all their distractions and all the excitement done before they pull off the sequel to 9/11.
It was actually scheduled. It was scheduled for that weekend of August 11th, and that's the weekend they rescheduled it from.
Oh, really? Okay, there you go. So, I mean, it's just incredible what you have done, the difficulties that you have faced. And I want to thank you again. I will not thank you enough for the courage and just the righteous way that you are to help people, to free them from the bondage of, as you say, the power that shouldn't be. Brother, keep up the good work. Keep safe. Please put me on mute. Peace, my brother.
All right. Thanks again, friend. Appreciate your call and your generosity. You have a good evening. All right, we got 3.5 minutes till the break. Let's go out to Zenith of the Alpha. What's going on, Zenith?
Hey there, Zach. How's it going, man?
It's going well. How are you?
All right, thanks. Yeah, so I left a comment for you about Allison Mack. I know you did a post about her. She was the actress on Smallville. So I don't know if you know Smallville, but it's a show about Superman before he became Superman.
Okay, right.
He was like Superboy. He was like a high school student that had powers but didn't realize he was Superman yet. Anyway, Allison Mack was the actress who played his best friend in the show. So in recent news, like last year, I think it was April 20th, actually, she was arrested and charged with like sex trafficking and conspiracy and things. Well, she just had a trial April 8th this year, and she pled guilty for the racketeering. I think she didn't plead guilty for the major charges there, but she's supposed to be sentenced on 9/11 this year, which is 156 days after this. She just pled guilty. 156 days, obviously 156 prime number, 9/11. And speaking of the Superman stuff, I had already done like a series of videos. You can check out my playlist. Anybody? It's called Clock Kent.
Huh.
It's like a play on the word there, Clark Kent. It's clock, like because Superman's a lot about time and stuff. So I linked Superman stuff with 9/11 a lot, as well as 218. That's one of the numbers I focus on. But I talked about her in a couple of different videos, and as well as 9/11. And it's just funny that she's being sentenced on 9/11. I don't think it's any kind of accident. But kind of to segue into that. Let's see. So let's talk about the 156 prime number, right? The words Superman logo equals 156 in ordinal. And think about Superman's logo. It's the letter S inside a pentagon. It's literally the shape of a pentagon. S is the 19th letter of the alphabet. Remember, we heard all about these 19 hijackers. Anyways, that's a symbol for hope, right? In the the movies and the comics and everything, they don't say that's the letter S. They say that's a symbol for hope. And I don't want to get into all the details of my video, but one of the things they said was there was a rain hotline put up by musician Tori Amos, and she uses phone words. She says, call the rain hotline. It's 1-800-656-HOPE. And I went pretty in depth in my videos about how she connects with Superman. Even the word rain in different variations. Rainn Wilson is the current Lex Luthor in the cartoons. Death of Superman, Reign of the Superman, and all this. Anyway, I'm not going to go into all that, but speaking of Tori Amos, she has a video that has 9/11
Hey, Zenith.
programming.
Zenith, let's pause right there because we're going to commercial break. We'll be right back, everybody. Okay, we're on the commercial break. Take a peek at the chat here while we wait. Somebody says, what's your opinion of Owen Benjamin? Well, I don't, I'm not really crazy about his work. The first time I ever tuned in, he was saying something about how he was making some racist comments the first time I ever tuned in. He was saying black people have an IQ of 85, and anyone can look it up in the New York Times. And I was like, wow, okay, so the New York Times wrote that black people have an IQ of 85, so that means it's true. And then he was saying the N-word and saying it's not a big deal, say the N-word. So I was like, I don't know about this guy, but I noticed while I was watching his live stream, like 5,000 people were watching, and he was getting super chats for, man, it seemed like he made about $1,000 in 10 minutes. I was like, wow, this is what everyone's out for, huh? To hear a guy say black people have an IQ of 85 and toss around the N-word. So I don't know. It actually kind of, I guess watching his channel is just kind of depressing, I would say. I mean, and I realize he talks about other things too. He mostly just talks about all the other, conspiracy nonsense in this community that doesn't really go anywhere. So, I'm not that big of a fan, I would say. Well, you're watching it through the YouTube. I mean, if you're listening on the radio, there's commercials right now. So this isn't the, if you go to TFR Live and listen to the show, you'll hear the commercials right now. You're just watching me do the live stream, what it's like from my perspective. Thanks for watching from all that distance, Ricardo. Appreciate it, man. Glad you guys liked the tinfoil interview. Look at this guy. He won $4,200 on Virginia and $20,000 on Tiger, man. Congratulations. Very cool. Happy for you. Wish my picks were better this week. It's been a pretty rough week with my picks. Apologies for people who we've done. Tiger was great for us, but Monday through today has been pretty. It's funny. I just noticed how many people are watching right now. It says 541. That was the number the caller brought up, and just sitting there. Somebody messing with us? Number of the day, I guess. All right, we're coming back from the commercial here in just a moment.
Critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question authority. This code has been compromised.
We're back, Truth Seeker. We're taking your calls. Zenith of the Alpha's on the line, giving us a little update on what's going on with Alice and Mac. We got interrupted by the commercial break. So let's go back out to his call. And if you're waiting patiently, please continue to do so. Should be able to get through all the calls for the people on hold right now. All right, Zenith, we're back. Zenith? Why do I not hear Zenith?
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. Now I hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, you're on.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, yeah, so I segued into Tori Amos, and I know that seems strange, but if you've seen my playlist, Clock Kent, you'd understand why I did that. But anyways, she has a video with some 9/11 predictive program, and this music video came out in the year 96, which obviously was before 9/11. But in this video, so the song is called Caught a Light Sneeze. Like, again, it's Caught a Light Sneeze. And in that video, there's a line, part of the chorus is building, tumbling down. Okay. And at the last time that she sings the chorus, they actually show the Twin Towers on the screen. Literally, as she's saying building, tumbling down, they show the Twin Towers in the background. And there's a lot of other like weird, esoteric, like mystical stuff going on. The symbolism is crazy. They show leaves everywhere. There's falling chairs. I mean, leaves are fall, autumn, fall. And it's about building, falling down. It's pretty crazy how that syncs up. I'm not going to get into all the symbolism. I'll let you get to your other calls, but maybe check out my most recent video and look up the Clock Kent playlist. But if you don't, look into the Alice and Mac stuff, Zach, because I know you do a lot of good work with 9/11, and she's very much connected with that stuff. I would just say, do a little research. I know you did a blog post already on it, but something going on. So anyways, I'll let you go. I just want to.
Okay, well, keep up the awesome work, and I will check it out. For everybody out there who doesn't know, this is Zenith of the Alpha. He was once just a caller of this program, and I kept saying, man, you got to start making your own videos. And then one day he started his own channel. It's awesome. Zenith of the Alpha. Be sure to subscribe. Always doing great work, and I will check out that playlist. So keep it up.
All right, thanks again, Zach.
All right, yeah, you have a good night. All right, next up, Cleveland, Ohio. How are you, Cleveland?
Hey, Zach, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
I wanted to run down the date, the numbers 8/11, 13 moon style. Okay.
Okay.
Some pretty interesting numbers. Now, Zach, you're pretty good with your numbers off the top of your head. So, feel free to interject, as I'm going through the process of spitting the numbers out if anything, sticks out to you.
Okay.
So first off, if you go to the 8th month and the 11th day, 8th month and 11th day on the 13 moon calendar, that day is February the 17th, the day to rewrite 2/17. That's the 48th day of the year, okay? So we got 2/17, 48. I believe that day leaves, 317 days left in the year? That's the number I believe that's connected to Saturn, okay? And the 317th day of the year is, 11/3. So there's a 113 connection, November the 3rd, 113. So that's like the first, ways you can look at the number 811 on the 13-month calendar. But the more interesting way of looking at that number is if you go to the 11th month and the 8th day. Okay? Now, if you go to the 11th month and the 8th day on the 13-month calendar, that day is May 9th, the day of the rewrite 5/9. And I believe that's the kill number in the Jewish cipher, 59.
Right.
Now, as of 11/8, as of the 11th month and the 8th day, there's 2 moons and 20 days left. There's 2 moons and 20 days left. If you go to the second month and the 20th day, that day is September 11th, 9/11. And I think that's probably the most interesting way of looking at that number 811 is if you go I mean, it's interesting looking at it in all different ways. Whether you go to the 8th month and go through the 11th day, that's February 17th, the 48th day. A lot of noise in the background, man.
It's okay.
That's Donald Trump, that's Donald Trump. 48, that's Trump, So there's a connection to Trump right there. And the last way of looking at another way that I looked at the numbers 118 for the 13-month calendar is going to the first month and the 18th day. So we started off with going to the 8th month and the 11th day. And by the way, 8/11 leaves 5/17, 5 months and 17 days. The 5th month and the 17th day is December the 1st, the day to rewrite 12/1 or 1/12. And it's crazy because it sounds like the previous caller was talking. He brought up a lot of 121. I heard him say a lot of 121. So that's interesting that I have that connection to that too. But lastly, if you go to the first month and the 18th day, that is, I believe, the last day of Tisha B'Av, which is August 12th. But I think that's kind of weird that if you go to the 118 is August 12th. That's the 234th day. And 234 plus his reflection, 432 is 666.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting as well. And lastly, 118 leaves 2 months and 118 leaves 2 months and 10 days, 210. And 210, if you go to the second month of the 10th day, that's September 1st, the day we write 9/1, and we're in 2019. So yeah, that's pretty much the way I surmise 8/11 through the 13-month calendar, man. It's pretty complex, but there's a lot of prime number relationships too, man, if you go a little deeper into it, man. But that's pretty much what I got for tonight.
Did you say what day August 11th is on the 13-month calendar?
Oh, that is even bigger, Zach. That connects me to what we mentioned last week, because when I got off the phone last week, the very next caller got in started talking about the number 117. And August 11th falls on the first month and the 17th day, 117. 117. Now, as of 117, there's 2 months and 11 days remaining. So there's a 211 right there. There's a 211 right there connected to the date as well. Wow. Okay, there we go. That's it for the night, man. That's all I got.
Very interesting. I appreciate it always. I got to get on that 13-month calendar. I don't know why I always don't, but I need to. All right. Appreciate it, man.
All right. Thanks a lot. You put me on mute.
All right. Take care. All right. Richmond, California.
Hey, what's that, Zach? I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I was going to add a couple things to what you already know. Is so as far as what was that? The church burning in Paris. San Francisco is also a sister city of Paris, and the church burning happened on 415 was 415, which is also the area code of San Francisco.
Ah.
And also with also I wanted to add with the Nipsey Hussle thing. So the London Marathon in Hyde Park is sponsored by Virgin Money, and I also just heard that his family was rejecting some sort of foundation funds because he said he had his kids set for life. He apparently had a deal with the new hotel in Las Vegas called the Virgin Hotel, the one that's replacing the Hard Rock Cafe. Which I also thought was funny because the hotel was called the Virgin Hotel. There might be a connection there. I just wanted to throw that in real quick.
Interesting.
Yep, man. But have a good show, man.
All right. Appreciate the observations. Great work. Really appreciate that. All right. You have a good night.
Yep.
Yeah, him talking about San Francisco being the sister city. I noticed the tweets that went out from the San Francisco mayor the day of the cathedral burning. She sent her condolences and mentioned that San Francisco was the sister city. And then that same day, she sent out a tweet about the upcoming 113th anniversary of the 1906 earthquake. And I was like, that's strange. Again, her birthday is August 11th, the day we're watching. And don't forget, August 11th is the 223rd day of the year, 223. This year, on August 11th in San Francisco, the Giants, who fell to 8-11 today, are going to they're going to commemorate the 1989 World Series earthquake team. They'll be playing Philadelphia that day. It's interesting because that's the 223rd day of the year. Natural disaster equals 223. Philadelphia equals 223. Philadelphia, the biblical city, was known for earthquakes. That's also the day in history that the patent went into effect for HAARP, the military technology that's said to have the power to create earthquakes. And whatever the actual name is of HAARP, it's like High Aurora Active Research Project, whatever it is, the actual name of that thing sums to 223. And the patent's on the 223rd day of the year. And again, natural disaster is 223. So it's just really strange. Just ever since we started looking at this date, August 11th, we've learned a whole lot about that date. Even if nothing happened on August 11th this year, I'm kind of hoping that what we just saw with the cathedral and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, 118 days to August 11th, I'm hoping that's the event. I mean, I don't want to see some great tragedy in the world, but this is the world we're living in, a world controlled by psychopaths and crazy people, and we're just trying to get people to wake up to how these people operate by a code, how they plot these evil acts, how they divide the people of the world, and, how all of this is truly unnecessary. It's just for their own benefit and to keep their psychopathic ways in power, I guess. So, we'll see what happens on August 11th. It could be a lot worse than what happened on April 15th. That could just be the precursor, or part of me is just wondering, could that be the event? 118 days to Tisha B'Av, 2 spiritual structures burn. Maybe that's it. It's just like how the year of 9/11, the year of 9/11. And as I'm saying this, you realize I'm trying to be hopeful that it wouldn't be worse. But keep in mind, there is a coin, for sale right now, a shekel with Donald Trump's face on one side and the third temple on the other, and they're raising money to build this third temple. So, this is an agenda that people want to see happen, the destruction at the Dome of the Rock so they can put their new building there. But anyway, I lost my train of thought there for a second. I'll just go back out to the callers. Let's see. West Virginia. West Virginia, how are you?
Hey, it's Bo Nero. I want to explain more about the 1-8 and the significance of it. So it's more about the 8 than it is the 1. And the 8, of course, is 2 circles, and circles are considered to be the symbol of the heavens. And that's why it's also, when you turn an 8 sideways, it's the infinity symbol, and why heavens is an eternal place, you see. So in esoterica, the 8 represent the heavens and eternity. And that's why Jesus also is 88. But also in the Bible, Jesus is considered in esoterica to be the completion of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the perfect combination of the two. For example, in Revelations, the sun-clothed woman with the moon under her feet represents Jesus, or as the same person who wrote Revelations, John, said, in the Gospel of John, he said, we beheld his glory full of grace and truth, the feminine and the masculine. Of course, if you don't believe that, see what your wife does next time you try to discipline your kids too harshly. So whenever we see all these events that are related to 1 and 8, you know, for example, I saw like, just to list a few of my Columbine, you know, it ended at 12:08, the coal bombing at 11:18, the hammer attack in the London Mosque, 1:18, the Tree of Life shooting, 11:08, the Las Vegas shooting started at 10:08, you know, the Al-Noor Mosque being at 8:11, and even the Gemini 5th rocket, August 19, 1965, was halted at 1:08, you know, and I could do a billion of those, but I'll say that's enough to get the point across. So the point of it is anytime you see one of these attacks, is they're separating the divine masculine from the divine feminine. And when you see the Masonic emblem, that G, of course, I think you've explained this before, but I think the G stands for the generative principle. That's the feminine principle. That's why it's within the compass, because you put a circle around the compass, like the circle in the 8. It's the feminine principle. And so when you take care away from people, they're left with just the harshness and lack of conscience. So anytime you see these destructive events, that's what they're doing, is they're trying to separate the divine feminine from the divine masculine. And that's why, and how do you do that on a stationary building? Well, that's what this burning in Paris was about, because when the spire fell, you were separating the phallic symbol from Notre Dame, Our Lady. And that's why the fire happened where it was. Well, that's pretty much all I got for the most part. I mean, there's so many callers. I got a whole other thing, but that was the most important thing I wanted to say. So I'm just going to leave it at that, man.
Well, really great observations as always. For people who don't know, this is Bo, letter N, Arrow. He's got a YouTube channel too, doing great work. And I didn't realize that the synagogue shooting at the Tree of Life, Kabbalah, was at 11:08. And I just looked that up and I said, oh my God, it is, for another 118 with a religious, you know, connotation type of thing, another destruction at a religious holy site. So, man, something else.
Yeah, Las Vegas shooting started at 10:08.
Which one was 10:08?
The Las Vegas shooting was actually, the police were called at 10:08, actually, to be more specific.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that one's a little different, but we're just seeing how all these religious related things are 118. So
Columbine equals 108, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, take care. Yeah, so he's talking about 108, which is another interesting number, but I'm just pointing out how all of these recent religious things are 11:8. You know, if you look it up, it does say the Tree of Life shooting was at 11:08. You just had the New Zealand mosque shootings, which were at the buildings in the 8011 zip code. And now, again, these religious structures burned 118 days to August 11th. So just want to make that point clear. He seemed to be kind of mixing up other shootings in 108, which is close. But see, a lot of decoders do that. They'll say like, oh, here's 108 and here's 1108. And I don't like doing that. If you guys know some my decodes, like I just put numbers together that are the number. I don't like saying, well, this number's close. I mean, there's something to that, but I like to show really concrete patterns, not like, oh, this is close. Because when you start doing that, I mean, then you can start putting a lot of different things together. But that said, let's go out to Shelbyville, Tennessee. Caller?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on.
Hey, man. So I want to talk about the 122s real quick.
Okay.
So, you know, Kofi Kingston, he won WrestleMania.
I didn't know that. I forgot about WrestleMania. What's his name?
Oh, okay. Kofi Kingston.
Okay.
And I can't remember his birthday exactly, but I know he had 122 birth numerology.
Okay.
And he's from the Kingdom of Ashanti. I believe it was the 35th WrestleMania.
It was.
And he was born he was born 305 days after the singer Ashanti, and she also has 122 birth numerology.
Huh.
And then the other thing I want to talk about is this black hole image on April 10th. It was a Golden Gate ritual because the black hole at the center of the Milky Way galaxy is the Golden Gate in astrology. And they credited the image to I believe her name was Katie Bowman, and she was born May 9th, 1989. Also 122 date numerology. Of course, San Francisco is 122 and 122 degrees west and everything. But the other thing I want to talk about real fast is Jupiter. Jupiter on April 10th went retrograde, and it was within 3 degrees of the galactic center, or the black hole, also known as the Golden Gate. And Jupiter will come out of retrograde on August 11th.
Really?
And and that will be Jupiter will be at 254 degrees of the ecliptic.
Okay, so I got to stop you right there, because this week somebody said, Zach, you're missing the whole thing with 118. It's all about Jupiter. And what they said is, in alchemy, Jupiter's represented by tin, and tin's atomic mass is 118. And now you're telling me this. So go ahead.
Well, okay, now it's connected to Notre Dame as well, because if you go look at its wiki page, it tells you Notre Dame is built on the Jupiter temple site.
Okay, so that, okay, and now it's 118 days to August 11th. Can you go back and say it again, what the thing was about Jupiter on August 11th? I got to hear it again.
Okay, so when they released the image of the black hole on April 10th, it went retrograde. That was part of the ritual. It comes out of retrograde on August 11th, in order to be at 254 degrees of the ecliptic, which is 14 degrees Sagittarius.
And September 11th, the 254th day of the year. And I remember how talking about from George H.W. Bush's death to August 11th is 254 days. And his whole name's 118. And
okay.
Yeah, so,
And one more thing to throw at you, it's kind of, you may have not, picked up on it. It might be considered a little random. Just one more thing, though, is so Jupiter doesn't quite get to the Golden Gate. It goes retrograde. It goes away from the Golden Gate on April 10th up to August 11th. When it gets back in front of the Golden Gate will be November 19th. And that's all I got on that. So,
well, you got a lot, man.
99. Donald Trump's 523, the 99th prime. Oh, April 15th, Day of the Sun. Day of the Sun is 523 satanic. And that Paxton, that baseball player, he had the eagle land on his shoulder. Was it James Paxton? It was 523 satanic.
Who's the James Paxton
again?
again?
A symbol of Jupiter. So,
who's this James Paxton?
I don't know if I got the first name right. I believe he was some kind of sports. I don't know. I can't remember if it was baseball or what. Or I didn't have time to get the notes right, but apparently, at some sporting event, the eagle landed on his shoulder.
Oh, that was at the Mariners game last year, right? That was in Seattle, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay.
That's something Dan Behrendt was on to. And I guess I'll go ahead, since I'm going, Marduk come across is 71 ordinal. And I can't remember exactly where it was in the Bible, but the Marduk is a representation of Marduk is Jupiter. So, yeah, man, that's all I got.
Well, you got a lot again. Amazing work. Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
That is, I've known it's the missing piece for years. I mean, astrology is perfectly tied in with all of this. It's just I don't know astrology well enough. But it's crazy how this week somebody threw that at me about Jupiter and alchemy and tin and 118. And then he calls up and says that about Jupiter and something else. Something else. I don't get how it all comes together. I just see how it always does. It just blows my mind. Okay, let's go out to Delaware. Oh, wait. Hold on, Delaware. I'm sorry. We're about to go into commercial. I don't want to do that to you. We'll be right back here in about 10 seconds. The commercial music's going to kick in. We'll go out to Delaware, Sacramento, Wisconsin, Texas, California, Minnesota, Las Vegas, Porter, Texas, Arizona, Washington, Hayward, West Virginia, Baltimore, Lebanon, PA, Rochester, New York City, Montgomery, Ruston, Louisiana, Culpeper, Virginia, Roselle, Illinois. There's a lot of people on Mount Enterprise. Well, there's a lot of people. Sit tight. We'll get to all your calls, hopefully. Be right back. All right, interacting with the chat. I saw somebody put up a question just before I went back to the show. I didn't have time to answer, but somebody said, hey, did you get my super chat? So I want to thank these people. I see several super chats today. Thank you very much, everybody. Cup of Milk, thank you. Nguyen, thank you so much. Joseph, thank you. Chico, thank you. Some of you guys gave multiple times. Very generous. Wisdom's Dare, thank you. Gary again. Gary, almost every day, Gary. You're too generous, man. Channel 5 Action News. He asked a question. A lot of people just gave a chat. He said, what do you think of iPet Goat 2 Notre Dame ending? I did see that, how the spire collapses on the cathedral-looking structure at the 6th minute. That film is known for its predictive programming. So, yeah, I think that was one of the things it was foreshadowing. So it seems. Joseph wrote, I have all of Oto's Blavatsky. Must read. Okay, thank you, Joseph. You have to look into that. Dana, thank you as always. Very generous. Thank you, Jim Woods. Appreciate it, you guys. You know, I really appreciate all the donations. You guys, honestly, there's so much generosity right now on my Patreon. I'm kind of overwhelmed. If it continues at that level, I'm definitely going to hire some help. I got to make sure it stays there, and I got to make sure Patreon doesn't just cut me off. But, you know, I have more revenue coming towards me right now, way more than I need. And Jonathan wants to get connected. Understand, I'm not spending this money you guys are sending to me. It's all getting saved for the cause. But I just, what I'm trying to say is nobody else needs to donate anything else tonight. You know, there's people like the caller earlier who are on hard times. I just know there's other people in the world right now who could probably use your donation more than I could. So I do appreciate it. All of the money is going to go to a good cause, but I'm just saying there's enough people being supportive right now that I almost feel bad getting any more. So, Brandon, that was nice of you, man. All right. Let's see. Let me get Jonathan connected here. All right, we're back, Truth Seeker. We were taking your calls. We have Jonathan with us. Jonathan, something screwed up. Can you disconnect and I'll connect you back because it can't do the video stream. I think it'll end up messing up the whole thing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'll get you back, but just disconnect, please, from me real quick. All right. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Let me get Jonathan on here, though. Yeah, Jonathan, when you pick up, just don't do the video one. Just do the normal call one. Okay. But Jonathan's going to be co-hosting with us. He wanted to get on last week, but all right. You there, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. That's perfect. What's on your mind today, man?
Well, I was just gonna ride with you, just co-hosting. I got just a couple thoughts.
Sure, let's hear them.
Well, I don't want to continue to beat on a dead horse, but I just wanted to just some things that I found interesting. With you know, as far as Nipsey Hussle goes, you know, there are a lot of people that are actually like really devastated about this, you know, like, and I'm trying to tell them that this is all a ritual. We don't know this person. We don't know if he's dead. We don't know if he's alive, you know? And so I just don't, the question that you have to ask is, you got to ask, who is Nipsey Hussle? Who put him in this position? You know, there's somebody that told him to put that store at that specific location. You know, so then I asked myself, well, all these people are saying that he was doing all these wonderful things for the neighborhood, but if you go to the store, he was selling these shirts that said Crenshaw in cursive on them. And those shirts go for, you know, $60 to $100 a shirt. It's just a plain t-shirt. And it has the word Crenshaw in cursive on it. So, I mean, so how's that helping the hood if you're charging $100 for these shirts? To me, you're exploiting the neighborhood. You know, that's not a rich neighborhood. So I asked myself, okay, so what is he actually doing? Like, okay, so I did some research, and supposedly he co-founded a STEM academy with plans to expand across 3 cities. He has an active role in establishing Destination Crenshaw, a 1.3-mile public art space honoring LA's Black heritage. He did a number of things according to my research, right? Invested in Vets, a blockchain-based music app. Supposedly he hired 41,369 people. Funny how that's just shy of 42.
Well, it's also 41,000 in LA. LA is 41.
Secured an ownership stake in Followcoin, an Amsterdam-based cryptocurrency platform. Puma X, the marathon clothing set to launch fall 2019. Established Steve's Barbershop in honor of his friend and business partner who died from gun violence. Reopened World on Wheels, a roller rink initially damaged during the 92 LA riots. So suppose we don't know where Nipsey came from. You know, he's not like the typical gangbanger. He's not the typical gangbanger that's just with the rolling 60s. There's somebody put him in this position to do all these things. Somebody told him to buy that store at that same spot. You know, there's no way that, you know, that he could be, it's just funny how since we're talking about the religious aspect, how he passed at 33 years old. And we're talking about August 11th, and we're talking about the Golden Gate Bridge, and Nipsey died in California. And we got to think about how, like, California is a big part of this. You know, maybe the Nipsey thing was just a small thing compared to what we're going to get on August 11th.
Well, and speaking of that, with regards to California and Nipsey, remember the Golden State Warriors, the day of his death, they won with 137 points. Nipsey died 137 days from his birthday, the 33rd prime. They beat their opponent by 47 points. His death had a lot to do with 47 and basketball, as we talked about. It was made a big deal that he was at the Texas Tech game the night before his death, the team that went on to be in the basketball championship. And then the opponent lost with 90 points, and he died on the 90th day of the year. And then they compared him to Tupac, and Tupac has a lot of, he spent a lot of time in the Bay Area. So, yeah, there's absolutely some larger riddle at work. You're right on.
Yeah. So let's just get to some of the callers. I'll continue as we go along.
All right, man. Delaware was up next, so let's go out to Delaware. How are you this evening?
Hey, what's going on, Zach? What's up, Jonathan?
Hey, man.
Hey, what's up?
Not a whole lot. Just got this Rockets game on. Not really watching it though, but here in North Carolina, there was recently an explosion in Durham, North Carolina. I was looking at the TV a couple days ago. I recently heard about it, saw the information and whatnot. I was checking out some articles online and breaking down some of the information. But long story short, the explosion took place in downtown Durham, North Carolina, on the 115th block at 115 North Duke Street on April 10th, 2019. Some of the articles are saying that one person was killed, 15 injured. Another one is saying that one person was killed, 17 injured. But the one person that was killed, he was the owner of a local coffee shop, and the name of it was called the Cafe Night, Kaffei, Cafe Night. Yeah, I guess I should pronounce it. Cafe Night Coffee Shop. It was an old man. His name was Kong Wee. Well, I'm just gonna go into the numbers so that I don't take too long. Kind of there's a lot of people on hold. But when you write out building, it has the same gematria as explosion because this was an explosion. Explosion has the gematria of 42, just like building, just like Freemason 42. The area that Durham is located in, they call it the Research Triangle area or the Triangle area. It's where all the major schools like North Carolina State University, Duke University, and UNC Chapel Hill is located at. And surprisingly, when you write out the triangle, it has a gematria of 119, like Star David, and a couple of other important phrases. And another article that I saw, it kept emphasizing the phrase direct blast. Direct blast had a gematria of 113, like dishonest, like mainstream, like bullshit. There was another article about a man, and it emphasized a term called battle of his lifetime. I guess this man died in the explosion in downtown Durham. The phrase lifetime has a gematria of 47 and 137, which is the 33rd prime number. Going back to the man's store, they said that his store was the pillar of the community. Pillar of the community sums to 105, like Zionism, like Masonry. Pillars of the community sums to 113. Going back to that phrase of the direct blast. Pillars has a gematria of 33, like Masonry. They said that this was in Durham, and the emphasized word was Durham building explosion. That also sums to 119. The man's full name, Kong Lee, also sums to 33. And the first name, Kong, also sums to 47. When you write out 115 Duke, I'm sorry.
I was just humming and hawing. Just as you're saying it, I'm like, these are all the same numbers on September 11th, really, when you start to think about it. And I know Durham, North Carolina equals 111, like Blue Devils, like Zion Lateef Williamson. And I'm just thinking about how September 11th went down on the day, leaving 111 days left in the year. So it just had me thinking, like, I wonder if they I wonder if that's like part of what they do. They look for a system of numbers that they can do these smaller rituals that, that bring about the same mathematical outcomes. So yeah, it's very interesting. And as you said, pillars, the plural, I don't think I've ever decoded that word before, but when you said that, I was like, oh, that's funny that pillars equals 33. And it does. I did it in my head real quick. It's the most pure cipher. It's just like the Masonic House of the Temple in DC, their headquarters. It has 33 pillars on the outside that are each 33 feet tall. So, of course, pillars equals 33, like masonry. And then, of course, there's symbolisms in Solomon's Temple with Joaz and Bakin. Right. So, yeah, man. Great research as always, man. You always dig up something very interesting. Is that your own neck of the woods there where that happened?
No, I live in Greensboro, North Carolina, but that happened in Durham. I live about probably an hour and a half away from Durham.
Okay, well, you're not too far away. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know if you're up for some on the ground reporting, but maybe you could go there and figure out some juicy nuggets. I don't know if that's safe though, but just a thought. So.
Well, yeah, thank you.
All right, man. Keep up the great work. Awesome as always.
Thank you, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Take care. All right. Anything you want to chime in, Jonathan?
No, that was awesome. I'm blown away.
Yeah, he always does a good job. All right, great caller from the Bay Area here. How are you?
Great, Zach. Thanks for taking my call.
Of course. It's a pleasure.
Hello.
Hey, a couple weeks ago, one of the wonderful listeners called in about a movie called Seconds. And it was during the discussion about Nipsey Hussle's fake death. And Seconds, it was released in 1966. It starred Rock Hudson, who plays a man named Tony Wilson, who pays an organization called The Company to fake his death so that he can have plastic surgery and start a new life. And at the end, they even explain where the cadavers for fake deaths come from. I was totally blown away by this movie. I want to thank that caller. I'd heard about it in my research about the transgender thing, because even though this movie was panned when it was released and people actually booed it and walked out of it, it's since become like a gay and trans cult film.
Huh.
And yeah, and he didn't, the listener didn't mention it, but there is quite a gay subtext to the movie. And there's even this nude kind of wine frenzy bacchanal scene that was like spirit cooking.
Huh.
I was blown away by this movie, and I feel that it's as relevant as They Live.
Okay, I gotta see it.
And I would recommend everybody to watch it.
Okay, I gotta check it out.
So the listener mentioned this movie came up while talking about the Nipsey Hussle thing, and there's actually some interesting connections between this movie Seconds, which the Gematria Seconds is 414 in English and 79 in simple, which is also Chaos Magic, has 414 English and 79 simple, as does Murder. And Mr. Wilson, the lead character, Mr. Wilson has the gematria of 738 English and 123 simple. And the Marathon, which was the name of Nipsey's store, also has 738 English and 123 simple, as does Conspiracy and the word androgyny. There's a lot of interest. Also, Nipsey did a movie called 60 Seconds Before, a short film about the 60 seconds before he goes on stage. And just the graphic for that, 60 seconds before, the word seconds is offset and highlighted so that it stands out. Yeah, it's weird. And Rock Hudson produced the movie Seconds, And of course, Nip was producing that movie about Dr. Sebi, who claimed to have had a remedy for AIDS. And Rock Hudson was the first celebrity to publicly have and die of AIDS.
Huh.
And as a result, he was kind of forced to come out as gay.
Huh.
And the phrase cure for AIDS has Gematria 119 in simple.
Wow. Wow.
So Nipsey, yeah, I know. So Nipsey did a video called Forgive My Language, but this is the name of the video. It was called Rap Niggas at Behind the Scenes.
Uh-huh.
And it was filmed in a jailhouse where lots of gay sex happens behind the scenes.
Huh.
And Rap Niggas, Niggas, has Gematria 552 in English and 92 in simple, as does Rock Hudson's character, Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson is 552 in English and 92 in simple.
Huh.
And then the word niggas is 57 simple, and Dr. Sebi is 57 in simple. Other words that are 57 in simple Gematria are Nellie, Mary, and Nancy, which are all slang for gay guys.
Huh.
And Garland, as in Judy Garland, the gay icon, is 57. Fooled is 57, and the word Bacchus is 57.
Huh. Just in case you didn't know, the store sign The Marathon equals 57, and so does Victory Lap, his album that went to #1 afterwards, and he was loaded into ambulance number 57. Yeah. So yeah. Huh.
Wow. So
okay, and then to add on to that,
yeah.
The I didn't mean to cut you off, but to add on to that, the Victory Lap. Victory lap is like basically like after you already won the race. So now you're just running around the track one last time just to celebrate. So it's just.
So go ahead, sorry.
Hello?
You're on.
Go ahead.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so it's just showing you how, it's almost like a preview of, this is it. This is time for him to exit. And if you listen to the last song that he had, the last single that he released, Racks in the Middle, he says, under no condition would you ever catch me slipping, motorcaded shooters plus the Maybach chauffeur driven. So it's almost like he's telling you in the last single that he ever released that he's never going to be caught slipping. So he's telling you that in the last song, and then they expect for us to believe that he just got shot and killed by a random gangbanger in front of his store.
Right.
Telling you in the lyrics that he's not going to be caught slipping that way. It was just time for him to exit, and this was just the exit plan.
Right. And there's a music video for that song where he's standing in a graveyard, and the music video synced up with the death. So a lot of information out there. But caller, back to you. You got a few more thoughts?
Yeah, relating to, so who's the most famous victory lap ever?
You
Bruce
got me.
Jenner.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Well, it reminds me.
I mean, when I think victory lap, I think Bruce Jenner. I just do that. That's my age, my generation. And his victory lap after winning the decathlon with his arms in the air, and he was so beautiful.
Right.
I mean, that was, to me, that's what I think of.
Well,
so anyway, Gematria, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you saying that reminds me that at Sandy Hook High School, where he attended, the track used to be named after him, and they took it down. It was no longer Bruce Jenner track. They took it down just before he came out with the transgender announcement. So yeah, he has a connection to that town, Sandy Hook. Yeah.
What a trip.
Yeah.
So Gematria, most of us would agree, proves that these events are staged, right? Which means that all the world's a stage. And that's a quote from Shakespeare's play, As You Like It. And all the world's a stage has gematria of 1212 in English and 202 in simple. And Transhumanism Agenda also has 1212 English and 202 simple.
Huh.
So I think that both of these artists may have been women in disguise behind the scenes. Women in Disguise is 1116, kind of an interesting number in English, and 186 in simple. And that's the same as the phrase still alive today. 1116 in English and 186 in simple. And also life is an illusion is the same gematria. And I think, and behind the scenes actually is 114, is 840 in English, 140 in simple, as is blood sacrifices and the phrase craft of Babylon.
Huh.
So, couple more things. I mean, I know it seems unbelievable to most people that Rock Hudson and Nipsey would be women in disguise. They were both 6'3" or 75 inches tall, and 75 is the reverse of 57, just like niggas, Mr. Wilson fooled Nelly, etc. Both were tall, but both have female skeletal and anatomical features. Like Nipsey had a beard style that many female to male trannies use to cover their necks because their necks don't have a pronounced trachea or Adam's apple. And if you look at him, he doesn't have a strong looking neck, which is pretty surprising for someone who sings for a living and raps and yells. You'd think a man who did that for a living would have a very strong looking neck, which he does not. And if you look at Nipsey next to his so-called lady, Lauren London, his skull, eyes, mouth, palate, and hands are all significantly smaller than hers.
Huh. Interesting.
Wow.
There's an old photo of Nipsey with Machine Gun Kelly before Nip got tattoos all over his torso. And he has absolutely no muscle mass. And he actually has puffy looking breast tissue. And you can almost see the top surgery scars underneath his pecs.
Huh.
He actually looks a little bit nervous in the picture. And it's weird because when you see Machine Gun Kelly, Nipsey, and this other third guy all standing together, they just look like a bunch of young dykes more than virile young men who should have muscle mass and be very lean. It could actually be a ritual photo. I would encourage people to try to find that photo. It's pretty weird. And then finally, in one of your shows, Zach, you mentioned that these rappers have these really degrading names like Alley Boy and Lil Mister and Cowboy, but those names are really good female to male tranny names. Alley Boy, Alley Boy,
Sure.
Lil Mister, like Lil is the classic male to female tranny name, short for Lily, who was the first kind of public transgender person in Denmark.
Huh.
Lil Mister. Mister would be like having a little micro penis to Mr. Piss with, right? I mean, Cowboy. Cow is a female bovine boy. Birdman. Bird is a girl man. Lil Uzi. Again, Lil micro penis. You know, I mean, I'm telling you, if all the world's a stage.
It's funny how Birdman's nickname is Baby too.
Huh. Huh. Yeah. Yeah.
If you guys,
crazy. Yeah,
I'm telling you.
You are. You're a brilliant
Wake up.
person. You always bring up the most interesting stuff. You really do make me feel like we live in the Twilight Zone. I'm gonna have to check out this movie Seconds, and I'm looking forward to when I get the podcast going again, having you on and fill us in with all your expertise. So,
You're too kind.
right back at you. Thank you so much,
Thanks
friend.
for all your work.
Welcome.
I just have to say how much I love the tinfoil hat interview, Zach. It was beautiful. And I really felt like those guys were so real. They responded to the information from the heart. They were like, get the F out of here. And oh my God. And you could just tell that their minds were blown and they weren't trying to be too cool to react but they were right there. And I loved it. It was so refreshing.
Absolutely.
So congrats on that.
Thank you. We're going to commercial. We'll be right back, everybody. Thank you so much. All right, again, on the commercial breaks, I am interacting with the YouTube chat. YouTube says 666 people are watching. I don't believe it. It's funny. A lot of people really enjoyed the Tinfoil Hat podcast. It would be. I had two people reach out to me who really didn't like it. They were like, Zach, I don't think those people took you seriously. I don't think they appreciated your work. And I was like, well, I mean, I felt like they were into it. I felt like they let me talk, and it's just everybody just has to. That's the thing about us as people. We all have such different opinions and personalities and perspectives. But I enjoyed the show, and I thought it went pretty well. So I see there's another super chat too. You guys are too generous. Thank you, Street Cheshire. They write, Zach, I'm 100% on board all the time. Okay, one thing, Flat Earth Society is no doubt a psyop. The Earth being flat is truth. Fly a plane from North Pole to South Pole and land it. Research it, Zach. You are too smart to not know. Well, all right. You know, I think one of these days we need to have a truth seeker cruise and sail to the ice wall and settle this once and for all. So, you know. The whole thing about the flat earth is it's just like, to me, it's like there's just so many things going on in the world. I don't even know how we got on this topic. I mean, whether the earth is a sphere or flat, we're still living out this police state, prison state, military, industrial complex, you know, agenda of, you know, that's built on deceit and lies and all sorts of awful things. So, I know the flat Earth has a passionate community. I know that. That's for sure. Speaking of tinfoil hat, before I went on there, he goes, "Do you want to talk about flat Earth?" I said, "No, that's not my topic." I don't even know how he feels about flat Earth. He asked me a bunch of things before he went on. He's like, "You want to talk about Julian Assange?" I said, "Sure, we can talk about that," but it never came up. He went through this checklist of things. You want to talk about this? I was like, "Sure." Almost everything he asked me about, we didn't talk about though. So. Okay, we're about to come back from the commercial.
Condition orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
time comes when silence is betrayal. More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question story. This code has been compromised.
We're back, Truth Seeker. We got an hour left. Sometimes I feel like there's too much intro music. Let's go out to Wisconsin. What's going on, Wisconsin? Wisconsin, you've been waiting a long time. Wait, maybe I hit the wrong button. Wisconsin, you there?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on.
I'm still here with you. What's up?
Hey, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, so you know what this is?
Not off the top. Oh, is it Ezra?
No, this is so this is Emeka. I'm Chigozie's brother.
Oh, Chigozie's brother. Very cool. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Doing well, thanks.
Yeah, so
Hey, what's up,
man? So yeah, hey, what's up? So like luckily I've been I was listening to your show. I kind of fell asleep and then I woke up and then all of a sudden it's my turn. So I woke up at a great time, but I was listening to like the majority of what's been y'all talking about, and I'm gonna sound like a huge noob here because I'm kind of relatively new to this whole concept of the Illuminati, cheating us and lying about everything and how everything and the news and sports and pretty much anything relevant in the world is fake. And because like when I first heard this, because actually Chigozie was the first person to ever tell me about this, and actually it was kind of weird how he even came up because like he was visiting me from Ohio during the holidays, and I like a lot of times I get like kind of like weird like random thoughts in my head sometimes, and I came up to him and I was like, hey, what would be kind of funny? I was like, it'd be kind of funny if like one day like just for like a prank, like CNN and just the news, where like make up like a huge story and just totally like just punk the entire world. And then, but then they'll come out later on and say that it was just a joke, even though everybody thought it was real. And then he's like, no, they actually do that. Like they've been lying to you this whole time. And I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? And then he starts telling me about you and just like what the Illuminati was about. And I'm like, oh, yeah, right. Like this like that just sounds like so much, that like it just sounds really crazy, Like I see why a lot of people are asleep. Like when you think about it, like doesn't it sound crazy, Zach?
Sure, it is crazy. I gotta ask real quick.
Yeah,
who's older, you or Chigozie?
I'm older by like a year and a half.
And how old are you?
I'm 28.
You're 28. Okay, so you guys are both a little bit younger than me. So I'm trying to think. So 28. So September. So you were probably still in elementary school when 9/11 happened. So you were still a young person.
Oh yeah, 9/11. Okay, yeah. Go on.
Well, so because I always ask that because I was barely 18 years old when 9/11 happened. And sometimes I wonder what my life would be like if I was your age when 9/11 happened, because I'm sure my perspective would be different. But for me, I mean, what happened was I just knew that I was lied to the day that 9/11 happened. I wasn't, those buildings were demolished. and blaming a man in a cave. I just knew all that was a bunch of nonsense. And then the other thing I always thought about was 911, a national emergency on 911. I mean, this just is all of this is too perfect. And I knew there was something up with numbers. Yeah. So I just understood that, there was some entity out there, trying to dupe us, trying to lead us down some agenda. They want wars, they want resources, they want control. And, I was trying to figure it out. And, just eventually I just started to realize, you just over time you do research and you learn about things and you learn about secret societies and what they're based in. And you start to realize that the people who are in control of this world, they're into occult knowledge. They're into this knowledge from way back in the day, going all the way back to Babylon that most of us have no idea about. And like this whole study of letters and numbers. I mean, who's even heard the word Gematria before? I mean, almost nobody. So, but when you learn this knowledge and then it becomes part of your consciousness, and you just start to see how it's being used, and you're like, this is what they're doing. This is why they're doing things with numerical rituals, and you just start to realize it's all about control. I mean, if you get in a large enough group of people, there's always a personality who wants to control the masses and be, alpha and number one and have authority over others. Right. So, I mean, that's essentially what we're just seeing playing out in this world on a large level. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's so true.
No, I was just
go ahead.
Jonathan's here too, so Jonathan's chiming in. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, I was just saying that I was in college as well when 9/11 happened, and I just knew it was a joke right then, just because it was just like so in your face, and I could give you another perfect example of how Gematria it just works all the time. Like, for example, just like in the world of sports, by what Zach's doing with the decodes, we figured Virginia would win the college basketball championship. I bet on that, and then I won money. The next day after that, I bet on the NBA, the Hornets, the Celtics, the Heat, the Blazers, and the Knicks. I won on that. Then I won money on Tiger Woods because this is what they operate with, and you can see it, and even in the sports, which is how come I've won thousands of dollars by knowing Gematria. And I used to gamble before Gematria, and my record I just learned Gematria 3 years ago, but my record compared to before and after, you can't even compare it. Because after I learned Gematria, my record is just 100 times better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
go ahead.
For Gematria, it wasn't until a couple months ago that I really started to see where y'all were going with it. When I was introduced to it, I didn't completely dismiss it because I mean, again, it sounds crazy, but then some things that my brother was telling me and hearing from you, that I was like, these guys might actually be onto something. And then it was one day you're speaking about sports, I was watching the NFL. And it was during one of the playoff games, and then I hear one of the commentators joke about one of those.
You still there?
They're like, this is the first time in NFL history where both teams are averaging more than 32 points per game. All right, and they said it with so much emphasis. Why would you why number 30? I know number 33 is very important to the Illuminati, right?
Masonry.
Right.
Masonry. Yeah.
Illuminati. Yeah. And that's a very odd and weird statistic to put so much emphasis on, saying that this is the first time in NFL history that this is happening, and then it happened to be 33 of all the fucking numbers. So, that did kind of made me really scratch my head. It's all right, this is probably real. And then when you asked me about 9/11, I was 9 years old when it happened. 2001. Never mind. Okay, I was 11. And I was in 5th grade. I'm pretty sure I was in 5th grade. So I, wasn't, aware or smart enough to draw conclusions, because I mean, back then I didn't know shit about how government worked.
Sure. which is understandable. Your brother's active in this. I mean, he's one of the top contributors in this community. He does a lot of good work, and you didn't know he was doing this until you met him over the holidays, huh?
Yeah, this was I want to say this was like 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. So it has been a while. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it took me a while to like fully come to grips with it, because I mean, it just kind of all right. Because I mean, I'm like one of those people who has kind of accepted that like this universe we live in, like nothing really matters. Like we're all just these little creatures on this small little planet. We're just and I don't believe I'm not religious. Like I don't believe that there's like a God that's like. I mean, I'm agnostic, so I feel like that there is some type of of entity or entities that create everything. But I don't believe in organized religion at all. I grew up Catholic, but then I kind of realized how BS organized religion is, because all organized religion is a way for it was pretty much just a way to control people. Because I mean, like if you keep people's minds in a box, they're going to be a lot easier to be controlled, and that's what religion was.
Sure. So, well, religion and government, I mean, they both do the same thing. They're all about controlling people. And again, where the federal government's headquarters used to be the Catholic colony. So, the Catholic Church gave us the world the first university. I mean, religion's kind of built the structure of the world that we live under. So, yeah. Well, what you just said is what you just said about that. That's what they do to all of us. I mean, coming up in the system that we come up in, the education stuff, like, we kind of like spirituality gets pushed aside, and we kind of get made to believe that, like everything's already known about this world, and we're kind of like these little creatures here, and our purpose is, maybe to work and try to enjoy life as much as we can, and it's not a good foundation that we're given as young people, and it kind of does make life seem almost purposeless, other than to accumulate wealth and material things. So yeah, that's exactly the system they got us in, and that's exactly how they want us to believe and feel. So
yeah, like I mean, it's already kind of bad enough that nothing really matters. But now on top of that, we're all just pretty much, like literally like pawns are just, like I don't know, just be, like at the government's disposal. Like everything is being, fabricated and lied to us all in our faces. Like nothing's really real. So I mean that on top of like that, it's kind of, pissing me off a little bit.
Hey, no, you want to, and as Zach, you brought up work, right? And as far as work, it's like we worked enough. Like how much work are we gonna do? It's like we need to come together and figure out a way out of this system, so we don't have to work for 60 years and wait on a half-assed Social Security check at the end of our lives.
Man, if you only got to work for 60 years, you're pretty lucky. Most people are working longer than that. So, yeah.
Like, and that's kind of sad thing. Like, a lot of people don't even realize that we're in a system. Period. Like people don't know. People never really think about where the buck stops. Like, people think that the buck stops at the president, and like you have no idea. Like what's going on, like because I mean, one day I was thinking about it, because this is actually when I was like back a couple of years ago. I was thinking about like what the Illuminati was. Like one day I smoked a lot of weed in my room, and I was just thinking about a bunch of stuff, and I was trying to like think of like what the Illuminati was, and I was like, so like with like the presidents of the world, and like the people who are like the CEOs of media companies. Like, I wonder if those people if they all know each other and like have a group that they can convene with each other and decide like what the media plays, or like how things play.
Oh yeah, man, that's like, the Bilderberg meeting. Yeah, absolutely, that's what they do. That's absolutely what they do. Hey, man. Hey, listen, I'm really enjoying this call, and I'm so glad you called in, and it's awesome to talk to Chigozie's brother. I could do this the rest of the show personally because I just like talking to you and where your mind's at. It's just there's a million people on hold, and so I got to keep it moving. Otherwise, people are going to be mad, man. But please do call us back, and I hope you start making videos like your brother, man.
Yeah, I'm really thinking about it. I will definitely call next week. I'm so glad I finally got to talk to you.
Very cool. Very cool.
Before I go, how old are you?
I'll be 36 this July. My birthday is July 21st, so I'll be 36 that day.
Dang, dude, you look way younger. Like I thought you were like my age.
Eat vegetables, man. I'm telling you, it'll keep you younger.
All right, I do. I changed my diet greatly. So, and I like vegetables, so I'll keep doing that.
You're gonna look even younger than me, man. So, all right, you have a good one. Take care.
Yeah, you.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, man, but I look forward to your call next week. Anything you want to chime in, Jonathan?
No, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was nice to talk to him. I didn't even know Chigozie had a brother. All right, let's go out to California. California. Hey.
I'm also born on a 21st date. Just one thing. Marcus Cousins went down at 8 minutes and 31 seconds in the first quarter, and he's dribbling towards the Warriors bench and looking towards Steve Kerr. I don't know if he's looking for a slide to go down at 31, but there it is.
That's 511 seconds into the game. That's the Saturn number. Saturn's 511 in Jewish, 93 in ordinal, just like Oracle Arena's 93 in ordinal. When LeBron and the Cavs won it on King James's birthday, they won it with 93 points in Oracle. I'll look more into that. Very interesting. Appreciate it, man.
Cool, man.
All right. Yeah, take care. Time Lord Osceola, what's going on, man?
Hey, brother, this is the timekeeper.
Absolutely.
What's up? What's up?
Hey, you know, it's funny. You know, when I sent you the text, I was asking your numbers, your favorite number, because I kept coming into a number in awareness, and it was 212. And so when you said 2, I wasn't surprised. And so, if you look at a pyramid, there's actually 5 directions of it. There's 13 realms up, 9 realms down each pyramid. And so you also have to consider the center. And so each of these realms can be visited. And so I found the numbers realms last night. It was 13 middle, 13 center is the number realms. And so as far as you, Zach, that might, one of your 8 guardians might be more number form is what I was seeing. And so I wanted you to consider that. And then another thing, if you ever break through an awareness, you are the master computer. And so the same kind of questions that you get from the gematria and then the divinations of the matches can be had, you know, just you do it all. And so you don't even need the computer to do it. You can do it. And so that's something that, you know, because there's the gematria is the spiritual side of gematria. It's like the divinations. You know, Derek has got it with the matches is the divinations. And so that's, you know, something that we all can work on. And then just a little bit of how people have been fooled. Okay, so Michael Jackson dies, every network covers his funeral. When was the last time a regional dude died in all 3 networks? And then my boy Suppliesy was saying this. And so you can tell it was a show. You know, it was a 33 ritual. You know, we men create gods and then we worship our creations. I mean, that's all the Catholic Church is. You know, the Catholic Church created the devil, and then that's who they worship. They worship what they created. And you talking about astronomy, I mean, that's what they do. They put these beings in these solar houses, and then they worship these same beings. They come down. But that's I don't really have a whole lot. But, you know, look for the number. Oh, and like you were saying, 9/11, when 9/11 happened, I was in my I was 30-something. Yeah, I was 30-something. But I saw that things were rigged was the 770 championship against Dr. J's team, the 76ers, against Bill Walton. I mean, the first 2 games weren't even a match. And then all of a sudden, that team, one of the weakest teams in the history of the NBA, beats the Dr. J-led team. And so from then on, I saw it back in 77 that nothing was real. But that's all I have for you, brother. And thank you for giving me the numbers that we was looking at.
Of course, and I'm sorry it took
That's
so
all I
long to
have.
do that. I apologize for the delay. I want to talk to you more about what you were saying with the numbers in the pyramids, because I don't quite have that in my head, but I got to learn more about that. I know that's important. So always a great observation and brilliant points made. And I've been wondering who Nipsey really is too, because why did he get so much recognition in all the funerals? I've been asking the same things. I'm like, who is this guy, or who's he related to? So
right. And no, but people are acting like he was a god. You know, like people in LA, like they're really like devastated. Just people all over the world, period. But we don't even know who this person is, where he came from. You know, and then here it says that the total projected value of investments for community, tech, and lifestyle ventures was over $210 million.
Huh.
Because he was doing all those things I talked about earlier. But we don't, you know, it's like people are acting like this was even bigger than Tupac. I'm like, everybody in the world knew who Tupac was.
Right.
You know, like not everybody knows who Nipsey Hussle is.
Right.
But that's how they're acting,
Let me add this about Sebi. And don't be fooled by Sebi. Sebi lived in one of Pappy Bush's cocaine places down in Honduras. That's who built that facility. So Sebi was a CIA agent. Don't get that wrong. And then Sebi did the Mason ritual by going to Supreme Court barefooted. Don't forget that. That's all ritual. So Sebi wasn't this great healer. I mean, you can find some testimonials that show what he really was. But so don't put him out there either. This man was working for them at the same. So that's all I have, brother. Thank you very much as always.
Appreciate it, man. You have a good night. And a lot of people have gotten mad at me for saying that about Dr. Sebi, but he gave me the fraud vibe because anytime somebody asked him how he cured AIDS, he'd always give some stupid answer and not respond. And then people say, well, that's because he didn't want to get in trouble. I'm like, well, wait a minute. If he went to court and got off for all that, he should be able to give the answer. If he's really trying to help people, why not? If it's just so simple, let the world know how you cure AIDS. But he would never answer that question.
Right.
So
he's a fraud.
Yeah, people get mad when I say that, but I mean, to me, he just didn't seem authentic. So, and that's not saying that everything he taught was wrong. I mean, he taught to eat a plant-based diet. I'm totally on board with that, but I think he's giving out half good information, and you know, some other stuff I'm not sure about it. So, okay, let's keep it moving. Porter, Texas.
What's up, Zach?
Hey, thanks for calling.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on.
Hey, what's up, Zach? What's up, John? What's up, bro? Yeah, you kind of got me to Porter, Texas, because I'm in Houston. Maybe my number's coming up Porter or something like that.
It does. Sorry. Oh, hey, man, if you call back, I'll look for you. For whatever reason, your call just dropped. I don't know why it did that. I apologize. Going to go out to Washington State.
Hello.
What's up?
Nigger.
Okie dokie. All right, let's go out to Hayward, California.
I see the trolls are out.
Yeah, too bad. Hayward, California. Caller?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on.
Zach?
Yeah, you're on. Yeah, it's me.
Oh, okay. Hi, Zach. Yeah, I got wow. Okay. So the number 202, I was watching one of your old posts, and I can't even remember what you said about 202, but I almost dropped my computer because I have this battery-powered cube-shaped clock. I've had it for 5 years. It runs on AA batteries, and it randomly goes off. You don't have to do anything to it. I don't pay it any mind. The time is not set correctly. And when it randomly goes off in the past, it would go off 00, like 00 time. And one day, I was sitting in front of it and not paying any attention as normal, and it went off on 202. Now, I'm a very spiritual person. I've been receiving stuff since I was like 5 years old. And so I don't know why. I don't know what. I really don't want it. I get scary shit. It appears, and I really don't want it. But I have it. I don't know what you call it. I really don't care. But I know when things happen and they draw my attention that it's a problem. I live in apartment 202. And when you were talking about 202 and August the 11th, 2019, I'm like, I'm fucking scared. And I can tell you that, yes, you are on the money, that something is going to happen. It's going to be catastrophic. And I'm scared.
Well, here's what I would say. Don't be afraid, because it's just like 9/11. Something horrible happened on 9/11, but most of us, we weren't physically impacted. Of course, the world was impacted for the worst, but I mean, I don't want people to be afraid. It's just about be aware. And then when this does happen, if it does, help wake people up, because we already had the foreknowledge of what was going on. Caller, sit tight right there. We're going to be going to commercial. We're coming back. Be right back, everybody. Okay, we're on commercial break for a couple minutes, interacting with the chat. Read super chats. Okay, Joseph, say Nipsey backwards. Wouldn't it be S-Pin? S-Pin? S-Pin, I think that's how it would be, right? So, Grok says Paul Simon playing at Golden Gate Park in San Francisco on August 11th. I know the name of that festival has a gematria of 118. The Glitch in Your Matrix, another great YouTube channel to check out. I hope he's all right. I haven't heard from him for a couple weeks. But he decoded that festival and did talk about Paul Simon playing Bridge Over Troubled Water there. So, yeah, great observation. That's at the Golden Gate Park the weekend of August 11th. Tim Power says Earth is flat. All right, Tim. I appreciate it, man. And Dizzy Miss with 2 more contributions. Thank you again, everybody, for the super chats. You really don't have to do that, but I do appreciate the generosity. And I don't get the Nipsey. I said it, but it didn't click in my brain what it means. So I do appreciate the observation, but I don't have the knowledge, I guess, or the awareness to understand what his name backwards is. It sort of does sound like ESPN. This is true. Just reading over the chat here. The oldest bridge in Cincinnati shut down today, huh? Yeah, I use the bathroom, but I can make it through the show. So. All right, we're coming right back here. All right, we're back, Truth Seeker. It's the final 30 minutes. There are a ton of people on hold. I'm going to do the after show thing, and again, you're going to want to go over to YouTube for that. And I'm going to ask that the people who didn't get their call answered, to leave the line open for them. But let's try to get through as many people as possible. If you can keep your call really concise, one question, one great point, it'll help us get through a lot of people on hold. Caller got interrupted before the break. I'm going to let them finish, and then we'll keep it going. Back to you, California.
Oh, okay. So, so I'm really concerned about that because, like I said, I don't pay attention to that clock because it would always go off. I started paying attention when the hours, when it would chime at the, 0 hours. And then for some reason, whatever reason, and I know the answer is coming, 202 just struck me. I was like, 202, what the hell does that mean? And I'm like, okay, first we were out of time, and now it's coming back chiming with a 202 on a cube battery operated clock that hasn't changed. I haven't had to change the batteries for 5 years. I'm like, this damn cube here is weird, but okay. So the number 202, because I just started listening to you. I bought your book today. I'm really interested in this stuff. I know that there's something to it. It's just the 202. I'm a believer. I don't believe in coincidence or happenstance. Things happen as they are, in some cases, most cases, meant to happen, whatever the purpose is behind them or whoever is behind it. That's the way that they're going to happen. And so I'm the type of person, I just let it all play out. But a lot of things I get foreknowledge of. I don't say anything to most people because most people don't understand and they look at you crazy. And I don't have time for that. I know what I know. So, the 202 is very concerning to me because, like I said, I live in an apartment in 202. So.
Well, let me just tell you this. It can't be all bad because I happen to be born on the 202nd day of the year. And my birthday's always been pretty good to me. Growing up in the Pacific Northwest where it rains a lot, it always seemed to be the one day where it wouldn't rain. So all these numbers are dualistic. There's none that are entirely good or entirely bad. It's like they each have their own side to it. So, but yeah, there's probably a reason that number keeps coming to you. So I appreciate you getting the book and calling in, but don't have fear, friend. I mean, I think for the most part, everybody in this world will be safe. There might be some people who are in the wrong spot at the wrong time, just like 9/11. But again, the whole point of putting this out there is just so people start to see how the powers that shouldn't be, as I call them, are operating and the wrongdoing in this world and the code they're working by. It's all about the knowledge so that enough people can wake up to it to help stop the agenda. At least that's my goal. So I do appreciate it. All right. Well,
all right. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the work that you guys do. Thank you so much.
All right. You take care. You have a good night.
Okay. You too.
Thank you. All right. Let's go out to Pennsylvania.
Hello.
Hello.
You hear me? I can hear.
I hear you. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay. Today, my friend on Facebook sent me this picture of the cathedral on fire. It was from the Simpsons episode. It was episode 407, right? This episode aired in November 18, 2007, right? Then, if you measure from that date, 11/18/2007, to the day the cathedral got on fire, 4:15, it's 612 weeks, right? 6:12, Revelation 6:12, talk about earthquakes.
Right.
Then, okay, so when you count back 612 days from August 11 this year, 612 days back, it will take you to December 7, 2017. That's the day Trump recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, okay? So 612 again, earthquake code. Then if you type there were earthquakes in Jerusalem. It's 333 in reverse ordinal and 108 in single reduction. Tomorrow is the day 108 in the year. And it's also the anniversary of the big earthquake in San Francisco that happened 113 years ago. So it will be 113 years, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days from the earthquake in San Francisco to August 11.
Huh. Very interesting. Yeah, and I saw on April 15th the mayor of San Francisco tweeted about the 113-year anniversary of that quake. So very interesting. Really great observations, Colin. Oh, you got more?
Yeah, remember that lady that supposedly was obsessed with the Columbine thing? They said she killed herself today.
Right.
And they found her in Idaho Springs, Colorado. I don't know if that's important. It might show up later. But her name is Sol Pais. And Sol means sun, Pais means country. And the country of the sun, that's Japan. So maybe it's pointing to something related to Japan.
That's
and Japan has this symbol of this red gate, right? It's called Tori, right? It symbolizes the entrance of a holy place. And in the movie Big Hero 6, they did this hybrid of San Francisco and Tokyo, and the Golden Gate Bridge, it had in the tower the 2 big Tories. So I thought that was weird and somehow connected to all this.
Very interesting.
Because it had to do with the earthquake of San Francisco also.
Great observations. I really appreciate it, man. Way to connect the dots. You have a good night. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, let's go out to New York City. What's going on, Michael?
Hey, Zach, how's it going?
What's going on, man?
Hey, I just want to make a quick point. How's it going, Jonathan? Hey, I just want to make a quick point about the NFL schedule today. We all know that, NFL is 66 and Jewish, and, it came out on 17/4, like number of the beast is 74 and 66. And when you write out number of the beast, it comes to 258. Today leaves 258 days left in the year.
Huh. Interesting. Gonna have to think about that one. Very interesting.
And also, I don't know if you guys caught this headline. It was from April 3rd that Jim Irsay come out on April 3rd, and he said something about wanting to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. I don't know if you caught that headline.
Huh. I will have to look that up.
It was on the 93rd day of the year. We know that Indianapolis Colts is 93. So I don't know if that's, that's obviously a ritual, but I don't know if there's something there or not.
I'll go back and look at it. Yeah, great work, Michael.
But that's all I had, though. I don't want to take up too much time.
Great observations. I will look at it more. Keep it up, Michael. You have a good night.
All
right, take care, man.
Yeah, you too. Good
night.
All right, New York. Another New York caller. What's going on, New York?
Hey, Zach, what's going on?
Hey, man.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up, bro?
That last call, I got 2 points I want to talk about. I want to talk about the NFL and Kodak Black. About the NFL, the season start September 5th this year, right? That's the Chicago and Green Bay, right? And this is the 100th year of the NFL, right?
Right.
The Super Bowl is February 2nd, 2020. What do you notice about that date? Auto twos, right?
Right.
February 22nd, 2020. And from the start of the season is 150 days. 150 days from the start of the season to the Super Bowl. And the date numerology for the Super Bowl is 44, 8, 8. And that's the 33rd day in the year and 333 days left in the year. So that's a lot of threes there. There's a lot of master numbers with that date. Don't you see that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I just wanted to make that point. And about Kodak Black, you see
what you think about? I'm gonna ask Jonathan about this. Jonathan, what you think about the Kodak Black and the T.I. and all this Nipsey Hussle?
Yeah.
Hustle thing.
Well,
Don't you
check
think
it.
what happened to Kodak Black pretty soon?
Well, check this out. Well, okay, Nipsey Hussle, he signed a distribution deal with Atlantic Records, right? So he's got a deal with Atlantic. And then Kodak Black, he goes on Instagram and he says something disrespectful supposedly to Lauren London. And then T.I. goes on Instagram and supposedly checks Kodak Black, right? And then now Kodak Black has a diss song going at T.I. But the thing about this is that, just to show you how orchestrated this all is, all these rappers that I just named, they're all on Atlantic Records. So Nipsey Hussle, he's on Atlantic. Yeah, his Nipsey Hussle, he's on Atlantic. His album is at the top of the charts. All of his albums are at the top of the charts. Now Kodak Black's about to drop an album. T.I.'s about to drop an album. And now T.I. and Kodak are beefing, and their albums are going to go to the top of the chart. So it just goes to show you how orchestrated it all is.
I was thinking the same thing, Jonathan. I just wanted to hear somebody else know that I was thinking the same thing about this Kodak Black. I was like, why is Kodak Black always in the news for something? He always in the news for something.
It's just for record sales. That's it.
Don't you think something will happen to Kodak Black? So either he gonna get locked up or some shit, or they gonna shoot. He gonna be the next dead rapper. I just see it. Don't you see it?
Yeah, that's a possibility. It's a possibility. I can see it. But I think they want to keep Kodak around because he's the way they're looking at him as he's supposedly the hottest rapper out. But yeah, if he passed away, of course his sales will go to the top. But he's already hot right now. Yeah, that's a possibility though. That's interesting.
Okay. One more thing I want to say if I get off the phone, Zach. One thing about the Super Bowl. This is the 11th time the Super Bowl will be in Miami, which is the record. I just wanted to let you know that too. That's another massive number. We'll go with all the tubes.
Right.
So that's 11th time it'll be in Miami. So I think the Super Bowl is going to be big this year coming up.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Well, and remember that the Indianapolis Colts, they won all their Super Bowls in Miami.
Yeah.
And the last team they played, wasn't it Chicago Bears? Wasn't it? Wasn't it the Colts?
No, it was the
Chicago
Saints.
Bears?
No, the last time they were in a Super Bowl, they lost to the Saints. The Colts lost to the Saints.
Super Bowl before that
was the Bears.
The Super Bowl before that, you played Chicago.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking interesting that they started the season off with Chicago and Green Bay since they're the oldest teams. So I just thought that was curious that they start off with them, not the Super Bowl champ. Because they usually start the season off with the Super Bowl champ. Why would they start off with Chicago and Green Bay? Because of the 100-year anniversary. So I'm thinking that it could be one of those two teams in the Super Bowl or Dallas Cowboys.
Very interesting.
So that's just my thought on that.
All right, great call. Appreciate it. All right, take care, man. I didn't know that about Atlantic Records, but I'm gonna have to look more into them. That just makes too much sense. Maybe we need to start some Gematria in the Truth community to get some recognition. Maybe that's what it's all about. People love the drama and the death. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, let's keep it moving.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Okay.
You got
I was just saying that it's just a ploy. It's just a ploy for record sales because it goes to show you how far in advance they plan all this out.
Right.
Gets this, and the only one who benefits is Atlantic Records from all these people.
Right. I should have said something bad about Chigozie. Then we get some recognition. All right, let's go out to Jace or Culpeper, Virginia. What's up?
How you doing, brother?
Hey, doing well, thanks.
Hey, what's up?
I just want to touch on the Super Bowl too. A couple things actually, but UVA just won the national championship. Russell Wilson's also from Virginia.
Okay.
And then his passer rating is 100, which is literally the 100th season also.
Funny.
This year. And then with all his contract stuff, all that too, which is pretty crazy. But then Golden Tate was the gentleman that called earlier. Was he talking about 81? The number 81?
I forget exactly what he said now. Shoot, maybe.
I think he was talking about 81. I'm not sure though. But when Golden Tate got drafted by the Seahawks, he was number 81, and he played with Russell Wilson. But he also saw something weird. It was his high school was Pope John Paul II, which is in Tennessee. It's Catholic. I think it's a prep school. But the other gentleman was talking about the moon calendar, and he said something about 117, and the address is literally 117 Caldwell Drive.
Huh.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Huh.
Wow. And then I had a question about like Joe Rogan. Would you ever be on like the Joe Rogan show? I think I've heard you talk about it before.
If I get invited anywhere, I go there. I highly doubt Joe Rogan would ever invite me to come on his show, but if he did, I would go on. So.
Yeah, I thought it was funny because I thought I heard you say that before, and I literally, when I was watching your 8/11 video the other day, I looked up his birthday, and he's born on August 11th, and he's turning 52 this year.
Right. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
It is.
And I also wanted to ask you because I'm kind of needy. I just learned about you on the tinfoil hat.
Oh,
but
cool.
have you ever done a episode on the Matrix, the movie?
You know, I don't think I've actually ever decoded the Matrix. Maybe I should go back and look at that. That'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because it's like really biblical. Like people don't understand, but like Neo being the one, and there's a lot of references to Bible verses, and it's even said in the movie like before he can liberate the humans from like the machines, he has to die in room 303, which 33,
right,
and all that. It's pretty crazy, but I thought maybe it'd be cool if you did like a
303 is a big number with the Jesuits, the Society of Jesus. So I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. I haven't seen the Matrix in forever either, so I'll do that. Good tip.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. But
appreciate it, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, you have a good night. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it moving. Illinois, you've been so patient.
How you doing, man?
Doing well, thanks.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, you're on.
Yeah, what's up? I ran across some rather intriguing information about the members of the occult, how they watch people like us through the content we create, the knowledge we acquire through our painstaking efforts. The most important feat is how we inspire others to push for the truth, no matter what obstacles stand in our way. It was never to be easy in a game of life to do as such. One can only match move for move because the odds either shift towards our favor or it's the events that bring us to a sudden standstill. One such case happened to a highly known informant or information sleuth. He has 40 years plus of knowledge or better. One day he gave information about UFOs to an audience. And this was UFOlogy-based material, which is constantly monitored by occult operatives. UFO phenomenon has always been speculated either by hearsay or fake videos. However, you have situations simply that can't be explained, such as forming of unorthodox crop circles, missing time, and strange cattle mutilation. The media jumps in to just play it down, saying just all a bunch of, a big huff or just staged. But is it all just stage malarkey or actual hidden truth? The informant who gave a lecture about it in 1990 at a convention brought mass attention to the listeners there. He especially treated a young man in the audience who resembled how one would say the 1960s average-looking hippie. The informant noticed him from a distance as the guy obviously stood out plainly like a typically odd number in a mathematics equation. After the lecture, the young man approached the informant and asked him if he could talk to him about his future, which relates to his life's work, seeing for the unprecedented truth. You see, this informant is a very popular author or controversial topics such as religion, ufology, politics, and Masonic occult, amongst others. They went by a new Mexican restaurant, and over a meal, is what the young man tells the informant that one day he will be approached by two men. He told him not to fear them, for they will take him to meet a powerful Freemason figure who sits on the infamous Council of 33. The informant asks, why should you trust them? The young man says, he replies, again, they are not there to cause harm to you in any way. However, an operative of the council wanted to offer him a business proposition. The council itself is located not too far from a highly known city. Very powerful. The young man tells him they will take him to an elegant building. At the entrance of it will have a set of marble steps, 13 steps in total. The building is a powerful city which resides in a politically based region towards the East Coast. Once inside, you'll be given two choices. The first choice is to continue to talk about topics that are not too hot and heavy. And the second is to become the golden boy for an occult organization. If you follow the rules, you'll be given fame and made well known to the public. However, accepting such a gift means that you'll have a great life here on earth, but it's a rather different situation after you have passed on, which you'll be sought after by spiritual entities who will be unsettled in the decision to sell out for instant fame. On the cipher chart, information sleuth is at 84 under full reduction, reflects Freemasonry at 48. And this informant has mentioned in an interview that he has been doing occult research for the last 45 to 48 years. Hippie is at 45 under full reduction, mirrors 45 under 13 under both full reduction and 45 for full reverse full reduction. Sorry about that. Religion pairs with nothing. Ufology pairs with nothing. Freemasonry is at 48 and reflects information sleuth at 84 under reverse full reduction. 33 is 66 and under full reduction and is turned upside down to match hippie at 99 under reverse ordinal.
Caller, we're running.
Is at 32.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We're running out of time. Is there a place we can go online to find this work and this research?
Most definitely. His pseudonym is basically Russell Pine. You probably seen him before. He's pretty very well known. And
how do you spell the last name? How do you spell the last name?
Pine, like P-I-N-E.
Like a pine tree. Got it. Russell Pine. All right. I'm going to check that out. So interesting. Caller, I don't mean to cut you off. It's just there's a couple more people I want to get in because they've been waiting for as long as you have, and I just don't want them to wait all this time and not get on. So if you can call back next week, awesome call. Appreciate it, man.
Okay.
All right, take care. Yeah, sorry to do that, but got to go out. Texas, how are you?
Hey, Zach. I just wanted to respond to two things. One is which the woman from Sacramento brought up about the transgender. And when I was talking last week about shapeshifters, it's important to note that they are either androgynous or hermaphroditic. So they can take on the shape of anything that they want, either male or female. So she might want to consider that and do a little research into that. The second thing is from the research that I've been doing, there isn't a sports figure, a political figure, or any other figure that you've ever seen on TV, probably, that is not a shapeshifter. So, it's like when those guys apparently break their leg on the field, when they're playing a game, or they twist their leg really hard, they're not breaking it. Nothing's being torn or broken. I mean, they can just do that. And, my understanding is they're very difficult to injure in any way. And the Notre Dame vid that you did today, you need to know that those buildings were built way before they reported them being built. And so they're not built by whomever they say they were being built by. They were centuries old by the time that they were found and took over because they were abandoned, essentially. And slowly, over the last 50 to 100 years, they've been being destroyed and being demolished in order that the technology within those buildings is not discovered.
Very interesting.
If you check out John Levy's channel, he talks about that. That's all I have. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Interesting point. You have a great evening. Okay, let's go out. Let's go out to Arizona. Arizona, you get the last word. We got 30 seconds, and it's the end of the show. So you're going to take us out today.
Hey, Bash. Great to be on with you. I've been listening to on and off for quite a while, and had a question of the celestial nature. If you've already covered this, by all means, sorry. The whole Nibiru, Planet X. Just curious about your thoughts on that.
Sure, we're out of show. I honestly, I don't know what to think about that. I've heard about that the whole time I've been awake, and I'm still waiting to see. But we'll be back next week, everybody. Sorry, we're out of show. Gonna stay on YouTube with the live stream. So, it's gonna disconnect this call board. You'll have to call me back on the number I'm gonna put out on the live stream. So connect over there. We'll be right back, everybody. And Jonathan, I'm going to disconnect the Skype. You got my number to call me back. If you want to get back on the Skype, I can reconnect, but I got to disconnect it now for the show. All right, you guys. What I'd like to do now is there were literally like over 20 people on hold that I didn't get to. I did a really bad job. And hold on, I need to turn on my other phone here. Somehow oh, man. I don't understand how this happened. For over a week, I've had my phone disconnected from the computer so the number doesn't show up. I guess it doesn't matter because the camera's not on the screen. But somehow during the show, it reconnected to the computer, and when people were calling in, it was interrupting. I don't even get that. But anyway, if you want to call in now, please, if you weren't on hold, don't call in. I really want the people who were waiting for like 90 plus minutes who I didn't get to be able to call in. But this is the number. If you were on hold and you really had something to say and I didn't get to you, you got to call into a new number now because we're not on TFR anymore. The new number is 509-731-0567. So you got to call in 509-731-0567. All right, we got a caller from Kentucky. What's going on, Kentucky?
Hey, Zach, TJ.
Hey, TJ.
Hey, man. I don't usually call in with like a decode or numbers, but I got something here, man. I was in the chat earlier about the Cincinnati Bridge that was closed today.
Right.
Right. Okay. So I did some digging. I've only done like 15 minutes worth of digging. So I mean, I'd like to request that you look into this some more, just because it's a bridge, and we got the whole 811 thing with the Golden Gate. So this bridge in Cincinnati, it's the oldest bridge in Cincinnati, and not only that, it's one of the oldest bridges in the world.
Huh.
It was built in 1866, and it's a suspension bridge. It's one of the very first suspension bridges ever built. And it goes over the Ohio River, and it connects Cincinnati with Covington, Kentucky. And where have we heard about Covington, Kentucky recently? The Covington kids and Covington Catholic, and I live in this area. So what I'm trying to say is I think we have a 51 riddle here, because Cincinnati equals 51. They said they shut the bridge down because there was debris falling from the north tower of the bridge. The bridge has two towers. It's a suspension bridge. So basically a suspension bridge has a series of towers, and this one the towers happen to be built out of concrete, and then the rest of the bridge is metal. And they call it the singing bridge as well. And I haven't done the gematria on singing or singing bridge, but that's part of it. But the 51 is Cincinnati equals 51 at full reduction. North Tower equals 51 in reverse full reduction. And then I read, actually, while I was listening to your show, I pulled up some more news about it. They said sandstone was falling from the North Tower, so they had to close this bridge. And sandstone equals 51. We've also got, I know I'm rambling, but I'll stop and let you respond here in just 1 second. Sandstone also equals 111. We've got North Tower, we got the 57. Debris equals 42 in reverse. Suspension, it's called the Roebling Bridge, the John A. Roebling Bridge, but it's also called the Suspension Bridge and the Singing Bridge. Suspension equals 119, 11.9. I'm almost done here, man. Covington equals 47, and let me help. If you don't already know this, the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, Greater Cincinnati area is a huge Masonic area. Just north of Cincinnati is a city called Mason, Ohio. Okay, I don't know if you knew that, but you need to know. Roebling, the name of the bridge, the last name of the guy that the bridge is named after. Roebling equals 44, and one more thing, just to top this off, is Cincinnati in reverse ordinal equals 174. And what is today, Zach?
17/4. Perfect.
Yep.
Very interesting. Yeah, great observations. I know Cincinnati also has the Gematria 66, and I was thinking about that because number of the beast is 66 and 174, like the date. I'll look into it more. Yeah, all the bridge stuff is curious right now in light of what we're looking at. I appreciate it, so I have it up here on my notes. I will do an investigation and see what I find. So thank you so much.
Right on. Thank you, sir.
All right, you have a good night. All right, take care. Thank you, man. All right, Las Vegas, what's going on?
Yeah, man, I had been waiting for a while. Call had got disconnected, but anyway, man, I really wanted to bring up a point about the Las Vegas shooting. Well, I had a couple of friends that were actually there at the Las Vegas shooting, and this is like before I even knew about Gematria. Like they were telling me like that they thought the shooting was actually fake, that the bullets were actually rubber bullets, and that no one actually really died in the shooting. Now, I don't know how true that is, but I was kind of getting that vibe when they told me about it, because something just didn't seem right about it, and it seemed like the victims were scripted victims. Like they already knew the whole life story, and it just seemed so fake to me. So
right,
I thought that was pretty crazy.
Right. So yeah, when I think about the Vegas shooting, I always get angry because my channel got deleted, where I told people all throughout that year to circle that weekend because we might see the biggest false flag in the U.S. since 9/11, and it pretty much was, because they said 500 and some people were shot. But that whole ritual was synced up with Yom Kippur, the Jewish Day of Atonement for your sins. Because I was telling people all year what it was about and how the numbers landed. And then sure enough, Sin City gets shot. So I was like, oh, of course, Sin City. No wonder. And that went down October 1st, 10/1, like 101. It went down at the Jason Aldean concert. J.A., his initials. J's the 10th letter, A's the first. The shooter was at the Mandalay Bay Casino, which equals 101. Assassin equals 101. The whole thing, perfect ritual. They said 58 people were shot like Freemasonry. It was 58 days after the sheriff's birthday, and his birthday was August 5th. The date can be written 5/8. Whole thing was a total ritual. I don't know if people really got hurt or not. I used to do a guy's radio show every week, Jeff Young. He's actually somewhat famous guy, former guitarist for Megadeth, and he was kind of like my truth buddy, and we didn't even know each other personally, but he always had me on for his radio show. And he got mad at me after the Vegas shooting because he said that he knew people were really killed. And I said, are you sure? Because I said, I've seen some of the scenes and these crisis actors they've had out here, and I was like, why would they have to contrive?
I'm gonna give you a video. There was people with actual live video here in Vegas. There's people that have their camera phones out, and honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, that I don't think the people that say were killed were killed. I don't think it was real bullets. I think it's pretty crazy what they're doing.
So you don't think it was real?
I don't. I'm actually from here, and I actually lived down the street from the shooting happened. On top of that, and I know people that were personally there at the concert, and I also know people that personally had their video phones out and said something was going on, that they seen the crisis actors themselves, that they seen these crisis actors out there. So I'm like, and you know, and this is the part about your work and everything. But basically, when I found out about Gematria, it kind of did everything for me. I was like, okay, wow, like I see what they're actually doing. Like some of these events aren't even real. Some of these events, people don't even die at these events. But you have people all scared and worked up, thinking that, oh, I'm so scared for my life, this and that. I don't want to get killed, blah, blah, blah. And these people aren't even dying. It's insane.
Sure. So yeah, I'm you know, I'm glad to hear that, some information. The guy that I used to do the radio show with, he got real mad at me because he was saying he knew people died, but he didn't know the names of any people. I was like, well, how do you know people died if you don't know the names? And then he just got so mad. He's like, I'm not even going to associate with you anymore. I was just like, okay, well, just things aren't adding up, man. So anyway,
yeah, wow. Well, that's totally, because it is, but it is, when stuff like this happens, people don't want to believe that this stuff is scripted and fake, so they just want to fight with their belief systems more so than actually look at the truth of it. So it's kind of hard for people to grasp the fact that it could be fake, because they want to feel bad for people, they want to feel bad, they want to feel sad, they want to feel like, oh, so devastated. But I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be real, like it was a total dupe. We've been duped, we've been lied to. Man, it's mind blowing. Once you tie in Gematria to this, it blows you. It blows your mind. It blows your mind that, like, how did I not see this? Like, the whole thing was fake. And I just wanted to bring that up. But a couple more things I wanted to bring up was that when 9/11 happened, I was only 6 years old when 9/11 happened. So I was at a very, very young age when 9/11 happened. And even as a 6-year-old child, something I knew, I was like, man, something about this doesn't seem right. You know what I'm saying? Something about this seems fishy. And actually, for me, questioning from the time I was 6 years old until now is what led me into learning about truth.
Sure.
Somehow, some way, I just knew that it was fake. Even though I was on such a young age, I just knew deep down. I said, something's just not right about this. And then ever since then, I just started looking into everything, to truth, and trying to figure out how this thing is scripted. Kind of like how your story is, like you said, like you just knew, like you seen the numbers and you said, how is this thing scripted? And, you know, and do your research, you dig, and you hit the jackpot. You hit the jackpot of how these things are connected.
Well, what you're saying to me makes sense. I started to question things at a young age too, and as someone who's taught in elementary school and worked with young children, I know that young children are smart and they ask questions and they realize when things aren't right and what's up. So I have a feeling a lot of children in this world, you know, at a young age were probably like, wait a minute. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And if Jonathan's still there, he's on the line anymore.
He's not on right now because I had to disconnect the Skype thing.
Man.
So yeah.
He brought up such a good point about Nipsey Hussle, about how people are so sad over it and stuff. And it's funny because I've actually was an active listener to Nipsey Hussle since like 2012. But the day he died, like I had no emotional reasons for it because I knew instantly that it was a fake ritual. From the first day that he dropped dead, I was like, okay, yeah, like I like Nipsey Hussle and everything, but who is Nipsey Hussle? Like, is he really this person that we think he is? This supposed he did so much for the community, whoopty-whoopty-woo, all this stuff. And I'm like, you know, even as a fan of him, I'm not going to tell. I mean, people are acting like their damn brother died, or, you know.
Sure.
Like
well, that's what they like. They like the emotional response and the emotional drain from the public. Caller, I really appreciate it. I'm going to keep it moving just because a lot of people are phoning in, but thank you so much. You have a good night.
Yeah, you have a blessed one.
All right, take care. All right. You made it. You're on. It's going well. Thanks for calling.
Awesome show. We just had to, we're drawn to the phone whenever you're hot, and it's just getting so late. I'm kind of losing my train of thought here. I don't got any notes, but Nipsey Hussle is a hustler, and you know, the more I hear about him, the more I'm realizing I think he faked his death. Because, you know, everything that I'm hearing sounds like he knew that they were going to come after him, so if he faked his death, then nobody's going to kill him or her or whatever he is. But my wife's got some good stuff here to share with you. So you just an incredible, awesome show tonight. Thank you for everything you do, brother.
You're welcome. Glad you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Hi, Beth.
Hello.
I usually do like some acronyms, but tonight I was looking up the Truman Show. Okay, that's 118, and Angel Wing is 118. Protected by the Armor of Faith is 811. Cutting is 118. Death is 118. And so I was thinking about, like this is like a setup and everything, So, and I heard someone earlier talk about 131, and that's a significant number in my family. And so, 1 Thessalonians 4:13 through 18, that should give the young lady that called in earlier some hope. And the hope of the resurrection. So, and that comes to 118 also. That's all I have. Thank you.
Appreciate it so much. You two have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Good night. All right. For all the people calling in, just understand this isn't like the call board like the other show. It's my cell phone, so I can only take one call at a time. I don't have call waiting or anything. Some people were really trying to call in, and maybe they gave up. Let me call back Warren, Michigan, because they've called about 1,000 times. Let me see if they pick up. Well, if it would ring. Oh, there we go.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic.
Maybe they went to bed. That's too bad. They called a bunch. Well, the line is open if anybody wants to call back. Again, the number is 509-731-0567. Jason Butler gave a super chat. Thank you, Jason. He said he called about the Matrix movie earlier. He'd like to add it also equals 118 in English ordinal. Isn't that interesting? And Neo's passport, yep, September 11th. I did know that about the Matrix. All right, let me go out to Auburn, Washington.
Hey, Jack.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Scott from Enumclaw, Washington.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, I wanted to ask you about the Notre Dame fire. Have you heard of anybody having pictures of a couple planes that were up above it at the time of the fire, and they cloaked? TR-3Bs, I believe they are.
Huh. No, this is new information. I didn't know about this.
Okay, there's a guy, it's, what is this? Okay, his website is Logic Before Authority.
Okay.
And he found there was a lady, they were, psychic tourists, and she was taking pictures of the cathedral before the fire started, and there's two objects, and it was and also he has it on a time lapse, which watched over the whole courtyard, people walking. So he's got a minute of it, and it clearly shows, it looks like a TV3 in one of those, airplanes, and it sits there for a while right before the fire starts, because as soon as smoke rises up, the plane disappears instantly. It cloaks. And I've seen them before and heard about those planes. They use it when they spray.
Huh. Interesting.
So, Logic Before Authority. You should have a couple clips. I think you got one of the tourists, a lady that he's got a clip of her film, and there's another one that he has. Yeah, nobody said anything about it. I was waiting to see if anybody brought that up. So it looks like to me it could highly be a dew fire.
Okay. Direct energy weapon. Sure.
And if you look at how they're showing the flames in some areas, one spot is extremely hot, and you can tell, somebody's making a comment that this is not somebody didn't go in there with a mocktail cocktail or, just throw a gas bomb in there or something. It's much more than that.
Sure. Well, what would build on that theory is they said it started in the attic. they said it started in the attic, so it started at the top of the structure. So if it was from some type of direct energy weapon or vehicle above some sophisticated technology, it would make sense that they would target the top of the structure. So I will look into that.
I seen the film, and I seen the plane sit there for a night, and I go, that looks like, that's not a UFO. Somebody made a comment, about, it's an alien. And no. But it close. The plane sits there, and then as soon as you see smoke, nobody sees it. And as soon as you see smoke rising, the plane just instantly disappears.
I will look into that. So the channel is Logic Before Authority. He has the video of this. So
Logic Before Authority. He might even have a couple things. I think he got the tourists. He started checking around people that were around at that time, and he found a lady. She didn't even know she had taken the picture, but they started looking at the picture that she was taking of the cathedral right before the fire, and there was two of them.
okay, I'm gonna check it out. I appreciate it.
All right, and I'm listening to you, brother, and hey, you're a good guy, dude. That's why everybody likes you and stuff.
Well, I don't know about everybody, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
But I'm working on getting, talking to you about finding funds available. So I'm ready to be support
All right. Hey, you're for whatever reason your signal's dying out right now, but I really appreciate your call, and you have a good night, friend. Thank you so much. Okay, appreciate the tip. All right, take care.
Thank you.
West Virginia. Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can.
Hey, yeah, I've never called in before, so I'm kind of nervous. Just bear with me. But,
well, don't be nervous, man. It's just me. You're just talking to me. I'm just like you. So, what's going on, man?
Well, no, I was just talking to lots of people in chat and everything. But so I saw your podcast with Tinfoil earlier, and the one guy, I guess Sam, seemed to be like really into the information, but it kind of seemed like the numbers kind of went over his head a little bit. Well, what did you think about maybe like having him on your show and doing like a one-on-one class with him, getting him on the site and seeing the numbers in front of him?
Yeah, I'd be happy to help him out, man. I mean, it's not all about money, but I'm just realizing what a big following he has, because my Patreon's gone up like almost $2,000 since I did his show. I can't even believe it. So his followers were obviously really into my work, and I'm eternally grateful for that. And so yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to do whatever he wanted to do. If he wanted to come on my show, of course. He's a busy guy. I don't even know if he'd have time to come on my show. I understand he's a comedian, and he makes Monday his day where he does his daily podcast or his weekly podcast. But yeah, so
last thing, I showed my buddy Gematria like last week. And he went to college for like math and computer science, and so it was like right up his alley. And I have like an old coin mining rig, a bunch of GPUs, and we're thinking about trying to write some software to do decode. And basically like the same kind of hardware they use for AI and deep learning. But like we're just kind of we're not really sure like what its purpose would be. Like, what would we be trying to find is what we're trying to kind of figure out right now. It's kind of more narrow. Like, there's so much you can go with sports and all the death rituals and everything.
So you're trying to build a software application to help further the research, and you're asking what my suggestion would be to do?
Yeah, it's kind of like something that can like auto run the numbers. And we're just trying to kind of narrow it down to like a smaller area. Like I said, you got sports decode, you got all the deaths with the artists, and it's kind of like a sub-branch just to kind of, I guess, teach the computer to look for headlines, dates, birth dates, distances between dates, but kind of looking for like a sub-branch of where we should go with it.
I would honestly have to think about that. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with the Gematria website, right? Yeah. So, I mean, that website does a lot. I'm sure there's absolutely more that could be done. I'd really have to think about it though, because I'm just thinking, what kind of software tool could really help further this research beyond what that calculator does? There's a man right now who's building a sports database that's going to pretty much pull all the sports information that I use in my decodes and put it in one source. So I already know that's being done for all the sports enthusiasts. I know a lot of people, what they really want is they want like a clean database of commonly numbers that come up commonly and how they're used ritualistically. I don't really know if that's a software application so much as just like a page in a book or a spot on a website. So I'd have to think about it more. But since you posed the question to me, I'll think about it. And then next time I talk to you, maybe I'll have come up with what the answer is. So I got to think about that one.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks for being willing to help, though. Awesome. All right. You have a good night. All right. Take care.
Take care.
Ohio?
Yes, sir.
You're on.
Hey, Zach, this is Gary.
Oh, Gary, man. You're the guy who keeps giving me too many super chats, right?
Yeah, well, there's some other guys in the chat tonight putting some big numbers up, so it's good to see.
Yeah, the super chat's been very generous tonight. Thank you, guys. It's funny. It's funny how life is. Like, because I said at the beginning of the show, I said, you guys have been too generous. I don't need it anymore. And then more comes in than I've ever asked for or ever seen before. So.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible. I think it's great. Everybody's involved, helping out Zach. Hey, everybody, if you're listening to this, yeah, definitely help Zach out. You know, he's been doing a lot of great work, as many of your followers know. You know, maybe Zach, I know you said you're saving some of the money, but you know, it'd be nice maybe you take your girl out. You know, you guys go get yourself a nice dinner. You know.
Yeah, we need to do that. She's been putting that same thought in my ear, so we definitely got to do that. The funny thing is, we live in this small town where there's not really any. Well, there's some okay restaurants around here. There's no fancy place I could take her around here though. But we'd have to go back to the city. We'd have to drive 3 hours to go out for dinner. So.
Yeah. Well, hey, man. You know, you ever get the chance, you should take her or take a little break. You know, so it's good to. It's always good to speak with you. I just got a quick question, not to hold you up, man. How do you deal with it, knowing about all the stuff, all the knowledge that you put out every day? Doesn't it ever kind of drain you? Do you ever feel drained from it? Like, how do you deal with it?
No, it doesn't drain me. I don't know. I guess I'm just geared right for it. I think it's just the whole process. It's like it's the whole process of what happened from when I was 18 years old and September 11th happened. Because if that day never happened, you know, I'd be living in a different world. And it was like a painful time for me because I went from this pretty typical 18-year-old, you know, finally free from the parents' house, out having a good time, living the college life in a different state. You know, I was down in Arizona at Arizona State and, you know, doing the things 18-year-old, you know, young men do. And then 9/11 happened, and I seemed to be the only person around me who thought, you know, the event was messed up, and it really bothered me. And I was just thinking like, man, I almost went on a different path. I could have been in the military. I could be one of the people getting sent off right now. And I just couldn't find anyone to talk to about it. And like people down there wanted to like fight me for questioning it. And I was just like, God, I just like, so
it's weird, you know?
Yeah. So I kind of got like alienated from my peers. And I just wasn't the same person anymore. I was, you know, prior to 9/11, the focus was grades, girls, and, you know, partying essentially. And then I was just like, well, wait a minute. Like something else is going on that's more important here. And anyway, I kind of became like more isolated, and I started reading a lot and researching a lot. And it just put me on a different path. And all I really ever wanted to do after September 11th was get people to wake up to the lie and see what was going on. And obviously bad things were happening. Because I mean, really what I was thinking about back then is like, man, I could be deployed over there right now fighting for some BS, or I could have been born as one of these people over there having bombs dropped on my house. And so.
Yeah. When I was in the Navy for a couple of years, and I was a Master of Arms, which is military police, but branched off of that was a combat Marine, and I was in Bahrain for a little bit, about a year and a half, almost 2 years. And do you remember the story about the Riverines that got captured by Iran a couple of years ago?
I do, yeah.
I was out in the Middle East, right, and nobody knows those guys. nobody out there knew those guys. I mean, I did some research out there when I was out there. Couldn't figure out who they were. They talk about how they were just messing around. They're out there on their boats on the what they called your river boats, right? And the riverine boats had all kind of guns on them, and they were just patrolling the waters. And the Iranians came up on them and camped with them. Well, the story goes, those guys, the riverines went up and they got captured. They weren't doing anything wrong. But no, we mess with Iran all the time out there. Where we're going after them all the time. And then that story pops up. I thought it was the weirdest thing. Couldn't figure out where they're at. If they were stationed out there, there should be in Bahrain, Co-Riv Group 2 out of Virginia. I'll probably get in trouble for talking. I'm not in the military now, but, I was. And nobody could figure out who the hell those guys were. It just didn't make sense. And I don't know. Then I've been to 24 different countries, some of them nice, some of them not. And the things you see in this world is just, effed up, man. Everybody in America lives in this bubble. They live in this bubble. They think America's the only country. I mean, they don't understand what's going on. So anyways, when I came back, I've been home for a couple of years, and I came across your channel. And, back when Hurricane Florence was going through, and that's when I found you. I was involved in politics and shit like that. I was actually a Bernie Sanders supporter, and but then Trump got elected, and shit just didn't make sense. Nothing made sense in the world, and I stumbled upon your page, and not to keep rambling, I got a lot on my mind, but I came across your page, and like I've said before, you've changed my life. You've opened up my eyes. You've opened up many other people's lives. In their eyes, and it's great to have someone like you in my life and everybody else's life to make sense of what doesn't make sense. So thanks, Zach. I just wanted to say that. All right.
Well, you're very welcome, and I really appreciate your call and you sharing all that you did and all your support. And seriously, man, you've donated so many times now. I mean, you really don't have to ever do it again, man. If everybody did what you did, I mean, we'd have the Gematria News Network. So I feel like you've definitely done your share, but I am grateful. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Guys, I know Zach, he's humble about it, but help him out, get involved and help this guy out. Help us make a difference. So thanks, Zach. I appreciate it, man.
All right, man. You have a good night. Nice to talk to you.
All right, brother. You too. Take care.
Silver.
Caller?
Hey, Zach, it's Dave again. I remember what I wanted to tell you.
Okay.
You were talking about AIDS, and that Dr. Sebi, I guess, said he had a cure for AIDS.
Right.
Well, there's no cure for any disease. At least in America, we're not allowed to say cure because we'll go to prison, right? Only drugs could cure something, but there is something out there that kills the AIDS virus. You ever heard of Dr. Rima Libo?
I haven't.
She was married to General Stubblebine. General Stubblebine was the guy that they made the movie Men Who Stare at Goats. He was the real life general. I think George Clooney played him in some war movie. Did you see that movie, Men Who Stare at Goats?
I remember the title because it's so bizarre, but I haven't seen it.
So anyway, Dr. Rima says that colloidal silver kills pretty much all viruses. It'll kill Ebola. It kills MRSA. It kills AIDS. I heard the CEO of Sovereign Silver Company back in 2006 on the Alex Jones show. He said they took 30 AIDS patients, full-blown AIDS, and gave each one of them 5 ounces of colloidal silver every day for 30 days. At the end of that 30 days, there was no AIDS left. None of them had AIDS anymore.
Huh.
And we've been using silver since then. I ordered it, and the first thing that I reversed or killed was my daughter had swimmer's ear, really bad ear infection. Her face was swollen like a football, crying in pain. I put like 3 drops of silver in her ear, and she said the pain went away instantly. And I mean, so many things I've done. You know, with silver, I've killed these viruses. So anyway, check it out, colloidal silver. It is the silver bullet. So anyway, that's all I had to say.
Well, I'm glad you called back. Very interesting, and I appreciate that information. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, you take care.
Bye. You too.
I got to figure out what to do about my ear. My ear has been ringing nonstop since I was 22 years old. Is that right? I think that's right. It was January 2007 my ear started ringing, and it's never stopped. My right ear rings all the time. What's up, Color?
What's going on, dude? How you doing?
Doing well.
That guy's right about silver. It's good stuff. A good source to take it from is called Apex Water.
Apex Water.
It's colloidal silver surrounded by 2 oxygen molecules.
Huh. Okay.
And it will basically wipe out anything. It's good stuff. He's absolutely right. By the way, I had a chance to talk with General Stubblebine many years ago after 9/11. He's a really cool dude before his passing. And one of the things interesting about General Stubblebine was that he, like a handful of other ex-government employees, Steve Pachenik is another one, he called 9/11 as a false flag stand down. So he's on record for, I think there's some videos of him actually calling that out.
Huh. I got to look that up.
Very brilliant guy. His wife was very pioneering. And they lived near Sandy Hook, by the way. And she called up Sandy Hook as well.
Okay, got to look into that.
Very, very interesting people. But that colloidal silver, that guy's absolutely right.
Okay, great information. So I'm going to look into that too. That's news to me. Appreciate it.
Apex water is what you're looking for. Okay, it's a solution, and then you add it to regular spring water, and you just drink it, and it works.
Amazing. Okay, I'm on it. Apex Water.
All right,
thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, yeah, you have a good night. So the door didn't slam tonight, but I heard it close, and it was still a little bit louder than normal. So I think that's the signal that I should probably wrap it up here. For people who are like, "What are you talking about?" I'm talking about my sweet lady. Let me see here. We got one more call. Hello, caller.
Zach, it's me again.
Oh.
I'm sorry. My wife just looked up General Stubblebine. He was born when? February 6th? And died February 6th. 1930 to 2017. But you're saying your ear has been ringing? You have ringing in your ear?
Tinnitus? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, tinnitus. So we are students of Dr. Joel Wallach, and this guy he's 78 years old. He's got 3 PhDs. He's a veterinarian, a big game vet, rhinos and elephants, and he's a comparative pathologist. That means he can do autopsies on animals and people, and he's a naturopathic doctor. And ringing in the ear is osteoporosis of the skull, and over 900 diseases. He's done like about 30,000 autopsies on animals and people, and they're all basically the same. They all need 90 essential nutrients, and all natural death, he's discovered, is it's a nutritional deficiency, and osteoporosis is a nutritional deficiency. It's a hard tissue deficiency. So check out wallachsway.com, WALLACH, S like Wayera, plural, WAY.com, and you'll see some videos there and some lectures by Dr. Wallach, and he'll tell you all about osteoporosis. You put in your symptoms, and it'll tell you what you're lacking. So, yeah, I see that reversed all day long. It's incredible.
Very cool. All right, I got it up here, Wallach's Way. So I'm gonna have to find that.
All right, brother.
Thank you so much. All right.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you have a good night. Before I go, somebody's trying to call from Los Angeles. I'm gonna let them be the last caller. All right, Los Angeles, I'm calling you back.
Hello?
Hi, you were trying to call in?
Hey, yeah, what's going on? It's me, 369. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for calling back.
Good. I really love your voice, Zach. I could listen to you all, you could read the telephone book and I would just listen to you.
Well, I'm glad somebody likes it. I personally can't stand my voice, but I'm glad it works for you.
Good. Yeah, I guess what I was going to say was I live here in LA, and I noticed the other day that one of the main streets here in LA is Highway 187, Venice Boulevard. Did you live here in LA for a while?
I've never lived in LA. I've lived in Seattle, Portland, and Phoenix. That's where I've lived.
Oh, okay. So I just wanted to point out that Venice Boulevard has the number 187, which is kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, huh?
Yeah. And as soon as I heard that the Notre Dame was on fire, I looked for your video, and my mom is convinced that it's not natural that the fire. I mean, so many people are just saying that don't even know Gematria, that are just normal everyday folks. They're saying what? This is unbelievable.
It is. It is. So
it's just crazy. So, but thanks for calling back.
Well, you're very welcome, and thank you for calling. Out of the people talking about the Notre Dame fire, how many of them even realized that there was another fire at another major holy site on the same day?
Yeah, I didn't realize that either until I think you mentioned it, and nobody notices that. And then a couple other YouTube providers are saying, this is the two, you're saying the two temples are being destroyed, and it's there's another woman on YouTube, and she was saying this is spiritual warfare. They attacked Islam, they're attacking Christianity. I guess some guy was on CNN, the mayor of Paris was trying to say that all these churches in Europe, I guess, have been being desecrated, and the guy, the host on Fox, immediately shut him down and was like, we're not going to talk about that. As if he already, as if they know, these people know what's happening.
Right, right.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy what people are just so asleep. I mean, but what can we do? What can we do, Zach? I mean, besides tell people on an individual basis, what are we going to do about it? That's the question.
Well, unfortunately, we're probably not going to do anything about it until enough people are awake and care. So I think all we can do is keep speaking out for the time being.
Yeah, it's really crazy. It's really crazy.
It is. And the only other suggestion I have is what I've talked about before. I mean, if people are interested in creating some kind of community, not like a cult, but just people who are interested in truth and talking about what's going on in the world and helping wake people up. I have this vision of creating buying several acres of land and setting up homes there and having a community garden and, maybe weekly meetings and, just make sure we all know each other and we're on the same page. And maybe we get a community bus. We drive to the city. We wake people up on the weekend. Hey, you see what happened with Notre Dame this weekend? You gotta know this and this and this. So I don't know. To me, it seems like it has to be something like that. Some sort of action-based community that cares about what's going on in the world. So.
Yeah, there's another YouTube guy, and he lives in Idaho. I can't remember his name. I think it's Steve Motley is his name, and he was. I haven't listened to him for a while, but he was talking about the same thing. Like, let's all move out to Idaho. Let's start a community and just like-minded people. I mean, I think it's going to come to that. I think it's going to come to that. The people who are awake are going to have to, like you say you can't get a teaching job. We're either going to be forced to because we're exiled, we're like social pariahs, or people are just going to, who have the money and the means, will be able to extract themselves from the greater society. But I think it's going to become like that.
Right. Well, in a way, that's kind of how it is, because I probably wouldn't be doing this right now if they had hired me as a teacher. I thought that nobody was going to buy my book and nobody cared anymore. And I was like, well, I have to go back to my career, but then they weren't going to hire me there. It's funny how everything came to rock bottom, kind of. The schools around here said that they absolutely would not hire me, but wouldn't give me a reason. And then I had the FBI come here and essentially threaten me. And I was like, oh, great, I can't get a job, and now I got the FBI threatening me. But then once I let people know about the FBI thing, then people started to support the book, and it all got turned around. So, yeah, they by making us outcasts, they might force us into the position where we actually are in a position to fight back. So maybe in the world, more things have to happen to more people, like what's happened to me, for me to be in this position. So yeah, I think you're exactly right.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Yeah, and I mean, I was a teacher too. I taught for a school district, and it was so disheartening just being in the school system and just seeing. Before I was awake, I was in the school system, and you just see like the school district doesn't care. The parents are so busy making ends meet that they can't help their children, so it falls on the school district. And these teachers, they put them in the crappy schools, and as soon as the teacher gets tenure, they're off to a white, a better neighborhood school. And so the kids that are in the inner city schools, I mean, some of those teachers are there like a year and they're gone. It's like there's no continuity. And, like, even if you're not awake, you, as a teacher, as an educator in a public school system, you just see the disparity and how society really doesn't. As society says we care about our kids, but we put this Disney. I mean, we let our kids watch Disney, and Sony Entertainment puts out, I'm here in like Los Angeles, like a stone's throw from like Culver City. And it's like, what the frick? We give all this energy to these megalomaniacs who don't give a crap about morals, but we're like so upset that, the teacher said a bad word in class, and they're like willing to like string you up because you accidentally said like the F word, but they let their kids watch whatever the hell they want to watch.
Right. The values are all wrong, and the things people are concerned about is all wrong. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And they're watching Miley Cyrus and like you said, it's like it's all contrived. Once you start to see, they're deliberately making us depraved. They're deliberately depraving us.
Absolutely. Well said.
Well, cool. Well, hey, if you're ever in LA, maybe we can hang out and have some coffee, but I think Washington's kind of far.
Yeah, you got the better weather down there. All right, well, if I can ever get this book tour together, absolutely. Appreciate your call. You have a good evening.
You too. Thanks.
All right, you take care. Bye. Oh, look at that. Somebody wanted to get in. All right. This is the last call.
Oh, good. I promise my point's short.
You got it.
This is Christiana. I called last month. I was a survivor of the campfire.
Yes.
Or Miss Chris Cole in the chat. Anyways, just a quick thing. You were talking about the Donald Trump commercial last night, and I started to watch it, and I just noticed, just because I've been playing around with words and just trying to, see what their Gematrias and stuff, that if you type in looking good, looking without the G, it actually has the reverse full reduction of 45 and the full reduction mirrored of 54. You're talking about he's 45th president, and breaking it down yesterday. And then just a little quirk was the sheep obviously, have 9/11, but if you look at the end of the commercial, sheep number 1 was there, and obviously the World Trade Center, the whole thing happened in 2001. So it essentially puts the full date in the commercial.
Oh, that's a great point. And now we have one World Trade Center there. So yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, just want to share that, but I'll let you get off the phone and end your night. Thanks for taking my call.
All right. Really appreciate it. Great work. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye. All right. We can wrap it up right there. It's about 4 hours. And thank you everyone for being here. And thank you again for everyone who gave a super chat. Very generous of you. Be back tomorrow. See, sometimes I wake up and I have to put out a video right away because the propaganda is already off to a hot start. So we'll see what they got for us tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's the 108th day of the year. Look for some baseball specials tomorrow. 108 double stitches on a baseball. Major League equals 108. For you baseball fans, keep an eye on that. See what else they bring for us. All right, Truth Seeker. Until next time.